describes acts of extreme violence in graphic detail and may include discussions about demonology and the occult, topics that caused widespread panic during the 1980s. This content may not be suitable for children under the age of 50. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the GROGTALK with your hosts, Dan and James.
And welcome to GROGTALK. I'm James.
I'm Dan.
And where are we from today, Dan?
Well, there's bad news and there's good news. The bad news is we're still in the abyss. But the good news is, I think this is good news.
Yeah.
We found an exit to layer 66.
That's right. We took an off-ramp.
We took an off-ramp. What would that ramp say, do you think? Is it just like to layer 66?
Get your kicks on layer 66? I don't know. I think that's a song.
Route 66.
That's right.
Route 66?
That was Route 66.
So we've taken routes. So we're in the 66th layer of the abyss. I'm very excited to see what's here. We decided to just take it. Let's see.
And we actually, as you came down, there's a big sign, "Welcome to the Queen of the Demon Web Pits."
Very inviting.
Very inviting. Then "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here" is right after it, but it's in much smaller letters. It's not as pronounced. So.
And then the problem is you're going down the ramp. You can't just back up.
Right.
There's people coming at you, so it's like you just got to keep going.
Exactly.
So here we are, layer 66 for the 66th episode.
Right. This is the 66th episode, so we're going to talk about all things 66, which is, if our warning was not pertinent, it's pertinent today, right? Demons, Lolth, sacrifice, and he's wearing, look at that.
Nothing says warning like this, right? And so for those who are listening, it's a picture of Erol Otus's, his famous picture from Vault of the Drow, right? Where a sacrifice to Lolth. Yes.
And it's also in this other book that we're celebrating today.
The Deities and Demigods, that's absolutely right.
That's right. So it's on page 92 of the modified Deities and Demigods. And let's see if I can get a better picture of it.
There it is.
Yeah,
well,
it's not that great for those who are watching at home. So that's probably better if I did it like that. So
now, do you have the Call of Cthulhu was removed from?
This is the removed one. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Erol, so you don't have to apologize. Not everyone can have those kind of funds. So maybe you can use some patron money to buy the 144 pager.
Right. I'm quite okay not having them. I can just go online and see that. So
don't say that. Erol Otus is on the show today. It's terrible. We wouldn't do that.
I bought one. I have a legitimate one. I'm just not going to pay. Well, I don't think he'd be interested in that because it's copyright. I mean, the estates.
It's not like a license where, like with Microsoft, where you get like 5 different things or whatever, right? 5 users.
Well, and if he's still getting money for it, then I'll be happy to go out and get that.
Oh, he's surely not, don't you think? You think right. Wizards is sending him a check? Well, ask him that.
Yeah, I think that should be the first thing. Hi, welcome to GROGTALK. Are you still getting money from Wizards of the Coast? How much is it? Does it come monthly? Wow, what does it do there? So what we're talking about, if you didn't notice, too, is we're very excited. We talked to the one, the only, Erol Otus, who's going to be on with us at 5 o'clock our time, Eastern Standard Time. He's on the West Coast of the United States for all our listeners throughout the world. Again, we're super excited. I mean, we're giddy that he's going to be on. So we're looking forward to that. But the shenanigans must go on. We got people joining. Welcome. We have our Sir Standing Sword of Oakland. And yes, well, we are very excited about Erol. I think in the I was trying to see how it was pronounced because I know a lot of people were saying Erol and all kinds of things. It's a Turkish name. Yeah,
I'm
Erol.
sure it's Erol Otus, right?
Yeah, but I think in the I don't know if it's the original Turkish, but I was trying to go online and seeing it's Erol. It's like Erol almost.
Wow. Your research for this interview is rivaling mine.
Well, I didn't want to call him E-roll, and he go,
That's true.
What are you doing?
You better get that right.
What are you doing?
The interview's over. The interview that lasted 5 seconds.
Click. That
We
was
would be
it.
famous, though.
That's right. The interviews who did horrible, terrible.
We're like that. We're like the party that dies in the first room and gets 0 points in the tournament.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. We get nothing for it. So, all right. Well, folks, let's. We've got some things we have to go over.
Do you have?
Go ahead.
You should have the countdown. I know I just interrupted you, which is terrible podcasting. We should have like the Erol Otus countdown timer in the corner because people are just waiting. We're like this is like the.
We're the
pregame.
opening act.
Exactly.
We're the pseudo undead opening up for Slayer. And we're not even the opener. We're the opener to the opener to the opener.
We're opening for the pseudo undead. We're the roadies.
That's right.
Okay.
This is a sound check before they come on. So, we're very excited about having that on. But we've got our normal shenanigans we have to go through. So, as we said, GrogCon is definitely delayed till next year. But if you want to play D&D, we have the Grognards Guild Online. Defenders, Protectors of the Realm. DM Brian, he was playing last night when I was talking to Erol, getting ready for the show. DM Josh is running, and Josh has been very gracious. He knew that the local Borderlands campaign had blown up. Offered to run a game for Nico and I.
No. It didn't blow up, James. No, it imploded.
Oh, imploded. You're right. That's true. That's right. It did not blow up.
Let's be accurate.
It imploded. So he was gracious enough to do that. But update, Tom, one of our patrons as well, of the Hudson Valley. I should know his title better. He is going to start running at the end of the month. So I will probably be playing with that. But I'd also like to play with DM Josh. So again, if you're having trouble playing with your local friends because of the pandemic, or you don't have a 1E group, there are groups that we have. Go to Meetup, Florida, Central Florida, Grognards Guild, or just see the links in the description below, in the show notes here in the podcast. So also starting in September, we're going to have our monthly giveaway. You must be a patron by August 31st of any level, and the higher the tier, the more chances you get to win. And so on our first September stream, we will be giving something away, probably either a mini groggy that we've gotten from the Scourge of the North, or Keep It Blood Red Falls. That's the two things that one of the two things. We may give two things away. We'll see what happens. If we're feeling feisty, right?
Indeed.
So if you are a patron by August 31st, that you have a chance to win. And we also need to get with Carlos from Castle Entertainment and with Jason Elliott and get some prizes from them that we're going to purchase. And they're usually super generous. I'm sure they'll give us some extras, and we will give those things away too, because of all, we use the patron money to give back to our patrons, basically, and to pay for the website and to take lavish trips. No, we don't do that. No one's going anywhere. So again, thank you to those who are spending their hard-earned money during this pandemic to support the show. We know craziness is going on out there in the world, and if you're giving your hard-earned money for that, we appreciate it. No reviews. We do need to go over the Grog Empire, but with my lightning strike here at the Grog Studios and you being out of town, we haven't had a chance. We'll have to catch up on that. So we're at Random Encounter.
Let's do it.
So you read the notes. I know it's only been a week, but sometimes we we forget what we were doing. But
Who's the
you
champ?
recall? Who's the champ?
Well, it's a revolving door. So, but yeah, no, the champ is the Shadow Mastiff,
The Shadow Mastiff. That's right.
which
So
I was
it's-
quite impressed with.
Yeah,
I
originally
like
you
the Shadow
poo-pooed it,
Mastiff.
but then you came around to it.
Yes, I warmed up to that lovable monster. So-
Lovable demonic monster.
Right. Here we go. I've rolled a 6.
So that's
that-
Monster Manual 2, I think.
Well, I was about to groan, but apparently I've learned. If I was going to groan, I've learned nothing
Right.
from the last episode.
Well, and I think there's been a couple of them that you've been. Your initial reaction was ugh, and then you're like, that's not too bad.
It's meh. So it went from ugh to meh.
Meh.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Your first your reaction you went from instant attack to uncertain, possibly
Uncertain.
attacking.
Possibly negative, but uncertain. Okay.
Excellent. More members of the Grognard Empire are showing up as we speak.
Well, it's like a concert. We're playing. We're the opening act.
Yeah.
The seats are like half. Don't you feel bad sometimes for those bands that they're opening up for Iron Maiden or whatever, and like only a quarter of the people are in there. Everyone's out. They're outside in their cars listening to Iron Maiden
Right.
while you're playing.
They're drinking their last drinks or whatever drugs they're about to take.
That's more. Everything is a balance, right? And they're saying this drink is more important than this band. So that's why people are coming in. That's fine.
It's all good.
And
Come
there's
and
a
go.
lot of people trying to get in. So it's hard. They're all congested and it's
So they're all
slow.
piling in.
We
Exactly.
got to search everybody. That takes time.
Yep. Temperature checks now. So yes,
That's right.
the Dragon Rider Guildmaster, His Glorious Sagacity, Baron Irresistible, is on as well. Welcome.
Welcome. Of Cleveland, right?
Of the Basque. Of Basque.
Oh, a Basque. Got the wrong. It's
That's
so
different, Carlos.
Got it. Okay. I need a D10,
D10.
sir.
5.
Okay. Outdoor.
Outdoors.
Outdoor. So now what I need from
Outdoors in the demon web pits. Okay.
you. Yeah, well, it's mainly outdoor. Do they have structures? I mean, do you have like
Well,
a
we'll
place
talk about
do you have
that.
like inns? Okay.
But I don't know about inns. They don't have inns there. But
Okay.
we will be talking about that.
A D6, please.
D6. I rolled a 2.
We're back to you'll remember this. We're back to the gold civilized regions.
Oh, the gold civilized regions. Wonderful.
right.
Cold or gold?
Remember, it's a typo.
Oh,
because,
the gold civilized. Yes. That's right. Yes.
because Jody Lynn Nye didn't type it. That's why.
That's exactly right. They
Right.
didn't have her type the manuscripts, and then you
Right.
get this. You
She-
get errors.
She moved on to write her own stuff.
Right.
I'm sick of typing other people's work.
Yeah.
Okay, gold. You think Gary was like, if we had Jody Lynn Nye here, you think he was angry when he?
Well, this came out in '83. I think wasn't he almost moving, or didn't he? Wasn't he almost in California at that point?
Oh, maybe.
With
Out of the cartoon.
based on what Ernie was telling us, with strippers and plush dolls or whatever. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It sounded like there's a movie in there somewhere. Don't you think?
Exactly.
Ernie in Hollywood.
Yes, yes, Carlos. I did get your note. He was he had a couple of things he wanted to say. That one was he noticed on the Grog Empire map that the area of Basque was not colored in. It is true. It is an older map, and I just put on the Discord that is something I need to update. So it duly noted. And then there was another thing you wanted to say, so if you could put that here. He put it in our patron message, but
Oh, okay.
that was pre-lightning strike. So I still have it, but I haven't checked it recently.
This has been like a defining moment in your life. I feel like there's a pre, right? BL
That's
and
right.
AL.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been crazy. It's so annoying.
Okay, I think this is actually meant to be the cold civilized region. So now I need you to roll a D6, please.
D6. 6.
Desert. So we're in the desert. It's civilized though, so I guess
a
there's
civilized
nomads
desert.
coming through.
Yeah.
Well, there's spice traders
It's
coming
Sonoma.
through.
It's what's in New Mexico?
Tao.
Tao? Yeah, something like
Taos?
that. Some place where, the artists live.
Oh, okay. Hmm. That's the only place I know.
Yeah, that was
And
pretty good.
that was all right. All right, 12. We need a 2 to 20.
Oh,
Sir.
do the 220 deal?
Yeah, the 8 and the 12.
All right. 11, right in the middle.
Okay. It's two things. I need you to roll a d6 because it's a this or we're still rolling. It's an or.
1,
Goblin.
goblin. We've never had a goblin?
I don't think we ever had a goblin.
I don't think we have.
Oh.
We've had orc. We've had gnoll.
Mm-hmm.
Had human. We've had pirate or whatever it is. Buccaneer.
Oh.
I don't think we've had goblin.
I have a goblin T-shirt, but it's not within reach. You
Yeah.
know I have a goblin T-shirt.
Of course you do.
You know, you've seen it, haven't you?
I have.
It's not within reach.
All
Okay.
right. Well, that's okay, but we're going to go with it because this will make
This is
this
going to be
quick.
awesome because I want, if this goblin wins, I want an audience with Lolth.
Okay.
And that would be awesome, don't you think, for this little goblin to have an
Yeah.
audience with Lolth?
I think if he survives the Shadow Mastiff, he deserves an audience
I
with
hope
Lolth.
he does. Am I the who am I?
You're always the challenger.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love goblins. You know I love goblins. This show, we just keep talking. This is the only segment we need up until 5 o'clock. Okay,
Right.
goblins.
This is
What
not
are
the
they? Don't
goblin
look.
episode.
Wait, don't look. Well, you can get to goblin, but I'm going to ask you some questions.
No, I'm looking up Mastiff because he's the champion, so I play the champion, if I remember correctly.
You were so arrogant sounding when you said that.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, I play the champion. I wouldn't be looking up goblin.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Well, I'm not even opening Goblin, but go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm not going to look it up. What page is it on for those who are playing at home?
Page 47, of course, of the Monster Manual. Now, let's face it. That drawing is a classic, isn't it, of the goblin? It's a classic. Do you know who drew? I wouldn't have known this. I ask questions that I don't know the answer to. So, do you know who drew that iconic goblin drawing?
Is it? Oh, don't look at it. I can't see it.
Monster. All right. Well, don't look. Don't look. Well, I don't think you're gonna be able to see the initials anyway.
I assume it's Trampier.
You got it.
So
Yep. Tramp. And it is iconic, isn't it?
It is. So I'm because you're going to ask me other questions, so I'm trying not to look.
Sorry. Turn away. Okay. Frequency.
Common.
No, not that bad. Uncommon. Now, this is interesting. You can encounter 40 to 400, but they're uncommon. And as
Right.
we know, if you flip just a few pages
hill
before, the hill giant is common. That's strange. So there's just more of them, just less congregated. So they're actually uncommon. Is the orc common? The orc's got to be common.
They got to be.
They got to be. I agree with you. Let's see. Orc. Yeah, they're common. Okay.
So that's odd why they would not be, they would be uncommon.
It is odd. You'd think they would be common, but they're not. Okay. I'll mention some of these other things. They're AC 6. Now,
Oh, okay.
my
Yes,
my
AC 6.
understanding is that somewhere this was clarified that the AC is simply if you don't want to think about it. Otherwise it's whatever armor they're wearing. So your goblins are not always AC 6.
Right, that's kind of their default.
Right. They're wow. Well, I shouldn't have said that. Movement. Can you guess their movement?
9.
6.
Oh, really? Never would have
That's
guessed it.
slow.
Well, that goes to, in later editions or some other editions, the demi-humans that are small, they move at 6. They don't move as fast.
Well, you know what I'm looking up, of course. Now let's look up halfling. Now I know they're kind of sprightly, literally. They're kind of sprightly.
Right.
See how far? What's their movement's 9 inches. Now they're 3 feet plus goblins. Oh, how tall is a goblin? Do you think?
3.5.
4 feet, pretty close.
So it's taller than a halfling, but they're slower. So
They look down a foot, and a foot is a lot.
Right.
So, like, if you're 6 foot, someone who's a foot taller obviously is 7 foot. But that's a big, you know what I mean? It sounds like not a lot,
Oh, I know.
but it's enormous to be a foot taller than somebody. So goblins are towering down on halflings.
Yeah, my son is 7 inches taller. My oldest son is 7 inches taller than me, and he towers over me. Yeah.
Right? How?
That's why I'm glad
No.
I beat him when he was younger, so he's afraid of me. But
Yeah, and that slowly started changing, and then he started beating you.
well, I
No.
have a truck now, so he's.
Gnome. How tall are gnomes, do you think?
I thought they were 4 foot.
It's 3 foot plus. Well, now halflings and gnomes are plus. But so what I'm getting at is that so goblins are looking down on gnomes and halflings.
Right.
I think dwarves have got to be 4 feet, don't you think?
They're over. Yeah, 4 feet plus, I think.
4 feet plus, you think? Yeah, 4 feet plus. So it would be like dwarves are a little bit taller generally than goblins. But so okay. Number of attacks, and I think the damage attack same. Well, it actually says it, or by weapon type. So 1 to 6, or by weapon type. Do they have any special attacks? They don't. You're right. Special defenses? They do not. You're right. Standard magic resistance. I love the intelligence. Do you know the intelligence?
Average parentheses low?
Perfect. Exactly right.
Wow.
I love that one too. Now, I don't, so they're not crazy stupid. But do you play, so when you play a goblin, I love playing goblins, as I think you know. Do you play them kind of stupid?
No, I play them like you, which is, I know a lot of people almost play them like children. Like, I play them like you. They are...
like you, like Dan.
I play them exactly like Dan.
Average friend low.
Average friend low. I think...
Who do I know that would...
Who would be like, sniveling,
Dan.
conniving,
Doesn't remember,
annoying, yeah.
Forgets like an episode a week later.
Cowardly, yes.
Dan.
That's right. No, that's how I play gnome. I play them the way you play goblins, which is they are shifty, they are cowardly,
Yes.
but they are not stupid.
But they're
for the most part.
Right, they're stupidish,
They're,
right?
They're gullible. Their intelligence kind of comes off as being... They're suspicious gullible. I know it's almost an oxymoronic statement, but they fall for things that they shouldn't.
Right. No, I see how you can have both suspicious and gullible at the same time. So if average is 8 to 10 and low is 5 to 7, does that mean we're talking probably, 7 to 8? Or are we talking 8? Oh, we're talking 8. It's
Right.
average friend low. What would that be? 8?
Yeah, 8.
8. Okay. Yeah, it's not, I mean, some characters are...
Right.
Many fighters are
Right.
the stupidest.
They're simple-ish.
They're simple people.
They're not disabled, from an IQ perspective. They would not be disabled.
Well, I mentioned this before. We had a player with an intelligence of 3. We didn't realize at the time that he could only be a fighter. He was a cleric, actually. But
right.
as Ed, my friend Ed, pointed out, you really shouldn't even be functioning with a 30, because that's supposed to be a 30 IQ.
Right. That's what it says. It translates to IQ.
You're not adventuring.
Yeah, you're mentally I think you're disabled at that point.
Yeah, I think you're...
You have, I have to be careful. I think you can say it in that case. You're mentally disabled, 30. You're grossly impaired.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are.
But we have fighters who have 50. One of the fighters we have in our group has a 5 intelligence. Same kind of thing. And we were talking about that as part of the implosion. Is sometimes you role play that too much. That's the only thing. Hey, the Scourge of the North is checking in. By the way, just checked in.
Yep.
Hello, sir.
He was the one. He was out in the parking lot.
That's right.
Getting us that final drink in.
He was he forgot his Otus shirt, and he went to the
right
and picked one up.
Or he was in line getting the Otus shirt while the
That's
other
right.
right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that was always a tough one. When to go get that shirt, right? Because that crowd got big, but you wanted to get a good seat. Okay, but so Vic is here, and he's like, "Where's Otus?" What's alignment?
I think they're lawful evil.
They are. Now, do you know something interesting about the Goblin alignment? The history of the Goblin alignment?
I don't know something interesting about the Goblin alignment.
I believe in Holmes Basic, and this may have been a carryover from OD&D. I believe they were chaotic evil. I want to say goblins may have been chaotic evil, and so that was a change. Do you like the change? If it was a change, do you like the change?
I think they are, I guess they're more, we play them more chaotic, but it's their deity, Dibbleblick, or whatever his name is.
Oh, Malugabuk?
Malugabuk, yeah.
Malugabuk.
He's in the hells, so that's why.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like it because I think they would have like a structure and follow, or you do what you're told. Do you really see a goblin in like the Goblin clan being like, I can do what I want?
No.
I don't either. I just doesn't seem to. I don't think he would last. Okay.
No, I think it ties into, once they decide orcs were lawful evil, they kind of put them into the same thing as well. Really, the chaotic creatures are the gnolls and the bugbears.
Now this is interesting, because what's related to the goblins? There's like the goblin family.
Right.
Correct.
Well, so the goblinoids, I think they're called in later things. So.
Oh, that's a band. That's the band.
The goblinoids, yeah. Okay. Hey, we're the goblinoids.
That doesn't seem like the music I was expecting.
Well, that's why it'd be great. If they did 60s pop, you would not expect that.
Right.
Well, my understanding, it's goblin, then hobgoblin, then bugbear.
Yeah. So hobgoblins and they're lawful evil,
Right.
and then yes, bugbears
are not.
So bugbears are part of the goblinoid family. Is that right?
Wait a minute. No Otis shirt waiting for the Gary Con Otis shirt. I don't know what that means, Vic. He's wearing an Otis shirt. Yeah. I don't have an Otis shirt on because Dan's the one who's plans ahead for these things.
Yeah, I've had this for months. Well, I mean, because we
Exactly.
knew he was coming on. I'm like, I get it. But so bugbears live in loose bands and are typically found in the same areas as their goblins, unlike their smaller cousins. So they did tell us in the monster manual that they were related. So they're cousins. They're hairy giant goblins.
Right.
So what's a hobgoblin? What's a hobgoblin? I mean, how are they? So bugbears are just big, hairy, but then you've got hobgoblins, which are a bit smaller. Bugbears are chaotic evil.
Yes, that's what we said.
And they're very quiet.
They're the crazy uncle.
Oh, they are. So do they hang out together? Probably not so much.
Well, they either bully around the goblins, or they, are employed by them, if I remember correctly in the thing.
And the hobgoblins they're the ones that are going to order around. They push around the goblins, I think, don't they?
Yeah, they're the militaristic ones. They're the try-hard older brother who's bosses everyone around. They're very militaristic.
So if you had so where it is. So as usual in their lair, well, you got some wolves. Yeah, and 20% chances are 2 to 12 bugbears in a goblin lair.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. So they're not. So the bugbears, So the bugbears are kind of like like you just said, the crazy cousins.
Right.
So they're not pushing you around. Why would they? They're chaotic, right? They're just. But then the hobgoblins are the ones who are going to order the goblins around.
They're very militaristic. They don't mess around, and they're bigger.
So if we had a Rise of the Goblins kind of adventure, like a big army, those 3 would all be represented. Okay. All right. Let's see. So goblins, they have a tribal society, the strongest ruling the rest, allowing fealty to the Goblin King. It is possible that goblins are distantly related to kobolds. What's going on there? What are you doing?
To the Goblin King. That's what Vic is pointing out.
That's right, because we have the
production goblin.
The production goblin. Yes. It is possible that goblins are distantly related to kobolds. I don't like that. I don't believe that. Like the latter, goblins are dwelling in dismal surroundings, although they tend to inhabit caves and similar underground places in preference to any habitation above ground. They too hate full daylight, and attack at -1. In sunlight, they have normal infravision. Okay, and we know that they can mate with orcs, right? You can have a half goblin.
Yeah. Everything can mate with orcs, basically. That's the thing.
Right.
Orcs are amazing.
Yes, and so they're wolves. Are those going to be wargs, I guess?
Oh, they don't have to be.
It says 5 to 30 huge wolves.
Okay.
So isn't a huge wolf usually a warg? No.
Well, that would be. They have wolves. Then I think they have large wolves. Then they have wargs. And then they have winter wolves, if I remember.
We have wolf. We have dire wolf.
Dire wolf. That's what I meant.
Well, and then parenthesis wargs. Oh, so they're the evil ones.
Right.
So dire wolf.
Right. So warg would be. There you go. So wolves is a huge specimen, the dire ones.
I think but don't you think they're riding the warg because they're evil?
Yes, it says these creatures have a language and are often found in cooperation with goblins. This is on page 101.
I like that in cooperation with. I like that.
They're just happy-go-lucky. Because
Well, but they're
they're
not.
parenthetical evil.
Or is that the warg?
The warg is evil, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think they're parenthetical evil, right? I think the warg is evil.
Yeah, the dire wolf is just a bigger one, prehistoric.
And it's right, right.
So is it neutral evil, or they're just evil?
No, I think the dire is neutral, and I think the warg is evil.
Just evil. Well, there's no such
then
thing
it
as
would've been-
evil. This
'cause then
has
it
to be
would've been-
neutral evil. Then they're just pure evil.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, that's right. Wait, what are they? Oh, that's right. So they're neutral evil?
Yeah,
Neutral evil.
they have to be. Well, we don't have a single. There's no, except for neutral. Everything's a double alignment.
But that makes it because wolves are very organized, aren't they? Shouldn't they be lawful?
Well, they don't. Well, okay. We're going to go into alignments again. We did alignments.
So alignment of wolves. We're talking about goblins, right?
We are. I think we're talking about combat. I think we're trying to have a combat that I think you think is not going to last long, which I agree with you. So you're really just stretching this out, which is fine. But
No, I'm not stretching this out. We're supposed to talk about the monster. You just think, there's nothing you can learn about goblins because you've been playing this so long. There's nothing interesting. They're boring, and there's nothing new. This is just
well,
the
I don't know if
difference.
they're boring. I just think they've. I think you're right. I probably have discounted some of the things about them because they've been. They're so iconic. Yeah.
No, you should love them for the following sentence. You know what sentence I'm going to read, which is why you should love goblins.
Okay, I don't know, but I'll let you do it.
They hate gnomes and dwarves.
Yes.
And will attack them in preference to any other creature. We often, I say we, I mean, I often forget that if you got goblins and if there's dwarves or gnomes, they go after them almost I don't mean in like a berserk fashion like you get the modifiers, but so let me ask you this. Do they all pile, you got one gnome, you got the gnome illusionist thief. Do they all pile
Am I the DM?
Yes, you're the DM.
Well, you just
Yeah,
answered.
it's a yes.
You just answered your question.
No, all joking aside, would you have them like are they that crazy? Do you think that they just pile on? So the poor gnome is just getting hammered by like 8 goblins.
No, I don't think that was how it'd be. But they would certainly, if they were running towards the party and there was a gnome and there was a human, they would go after the gnome.
They would, and they all start at the gnome, so it might not be a smart tactic, and they might realize after a while it's not a great tactic. But at first, each one, remember, it's parental low intelligence. Don't you think they all would just all pile on the gnome, like you said, and then eventually they might they can't get in. You're like, hey, I can't get in, and like, okay, I guess I'll fight that elf.
Well, I think they hate. They're not big fans of elves either, but they have it's like a pecking order of hatred. I think what I would do is they would try to carry away the gnome or the dwarf.
Well, I think so
they could sacrifice him and torture him.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now you saved yourself there. Now, so Roger Moore did the humanoid point of view, and he talks about goblins. And I remember a couple things that he said, which I thought were interesting. They tend to skew a bit on the more neutral side, which I thought was interesting. I mean, there's nothing in here to suggest that. I think that was just Roger Moore's take on it. And they, that gnomes and dwarves I don't think are going to live, right? So they love slaves and they love torture, but generally the gnomes and the dwarves are killed. So maybe the sacrifice. Let me ask you this. If you sacrifice, so I'm a goblin cleric or shaman.
Shaman or witch doctor.
Shaman or witch doctor. Right, we should do an episode on those. I'm a shaman or witch doctor, and I sacrifice the gnome.
And what's the difference between a shaman and witch doctor?
I don't know, actually. That's why I need to do the show. What is the difference?
Shaman is a cleric, for these men or barbarians or humanoids, monsters. And a witch doctor is a cleric magic user.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting.
And then depending on the race, creature, that's the level they get. But they are limited to certain spells.
We should do. I'd like to do, because I need to learn about that. I'd like to do an episode.
So we'll do that.
Yeah, on shamans and witch doctors.
It's a list.
It's a long list. I'm sacrificed. I'm a gnome, and I'm sacrificed to Mally Good Book, right? Do you think does my soul go to the 9 hells, or does sacrificing prevent your soul from going to the plane you're supposed to go to? What do you I mean, what's the point of sacrifice? I mean, when I sacrifice gold, doesn't the gold appear in Mag somewhere in some. So I always figure there's like some big room of junk with all this stuff being sacrificed, right? I mean, right? Does it disappear? So when I sacrifice gold, what happens to it?
Well,
Or,
when the way I do is if you sacrifice gold, the priests take it and they use it to pay for other things.
Oh my gosh, is it true? I've been ripped off.
Unless there's like a portal, a sphere of annihilation that you're just chucking stuff in there. I think a witch doctor is if the ability to make material items disappear would be amazing.
No, but I think it's in conjunction with. But so when you bury stuff to your god and all that, I mean, isn't that what's supposed to happen? It goes to, or you just think it's just something? It's just like honorific. It's just symbolic.
Well, they burn it. I mean, other things they would burn or they would stab and burn. I mean, if we're using, what we know of our own history and kind of extrapolating it to the things. That's why they want human, elf, gnome sacrifices, because it shows, I think, whether the soul or spirit go back, I think they do. But the important thing is it shows, it's like, go and capturing a gnome for sacrifice versus just taking the peasant in the field. That shows a lot more, it's a better sacrifice. Because you could sell these slaves. You could sell them. They're worth money. And you're taking that and you're sacrificing them.
Okay.
Because they're dead. Now, your point is good. You could certainly, that would make being sacrificed a lot more problematic if your spirit or soul was going to have to go to the 9 hells.
Yeah, you better be carrying around the cyanide tablet.
Right. Everyone would be knowing how to choke on their own tongues at that point. Oh my God, I'm being captured by the goblins.
And this was like, wait, no. You were mistaken. That's not a goblin.
I mean,
that's a gnome.
They'd be trying to chew their wrists.
Right. Get a cleric.
Yeah, if there's 40 then it would be, they would try to heal them because, and there are games and there are other things that, the spirits and souls have, that'd be kind of interesting. There's video games I've seen, other games where, the souls and spirits of the people you consume them, and that's how you derive your power. So, but I think, and there's definitely monsters. We saw one, was it Night Hags or someone that they try to intercept lawful evilings, but there's other creatures we read about that they try to intercept and steal souls. That transfer through the outer planes is fraught with danger.
Oh, you'd be waylaid.
Right, your soul could be waylaid.
That would stink.
Right.
So you're dead. Number one, you're dead.
Yes.
Like, well, that sucks.
Bad
but
news,
at least
dead.
I'm going.
Good news, I'm going to the place I want to go. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to the happy hunting grounds, whatever. I can't wait to get there. Are we there yet? And then you're waylaid and you're abducted and you're taken to the 9 hells?
Right. I assume that somewhere there's some big auction house, like a prisoner exchange, that, the 7 heavens kind of show up and go, okay, we have 3 million lemurs and 4 million.
We're looking for some, we like the gnome souls. They're good diggers. You got any gnome souls? How many gnome souls? I'll give you 20 lemurs or whatever. I'll give you 20 stench cow. Right. I'm sorry, what is it? Stench?
Herd.
There was a plural for that, wasn't there?
Stench.
Kine?
Yes.
Stench kine?
Stench kine.
Stench kine.
That's an industrial metal band.
Stench kine.
Stench kine.
the German industrial metal band. Stench kine. Yeah, I got like 20 stench kine.
9 stench kine.
Yeah, it's like a big bazaar. Oh, it's like a bazaar in hell.
Right.
Well, that's the first album.
Bazaar
in hell. Not like
this
not
is
like a bazaar, but like bazaar. Right. Yeah, I know you. All right. Okay. Goblins. This is interesting. So they speak Kobold, I guess, because they're always underground.
Yep.
They speak Orcish. And they speak, Drow speak gnome, which bothers me, but that's another discussion. And Hobgoblin, they don't speak Bugbear? What's that all about? How's that possible?
Because Bugbears speak.
I know, but
Bugbears
how
speak Goblin.
Are you? Speak Goblin and Yeah, but why don't they get their own? Why don't they speak? Bugbear have their own racial tongue. Why don't goblins? Look, if we looked at If you look at is it because they're low intelligence, you think?
I don't know about that.
So hobgoblins, they probably are going to speak. They speak Goblin, Orcish, and the rudimentary tongue of carnivorous apes. That's awesome. But they don't speak. No one speaks bugbear.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know if no one speaks bugbear.
Well,
I would look at ogre. Maybe they speak
oh,
bugbear.
but none of the other goblinoid. They're
Yeah.
not even willing to learn it. Okay. Let me see.
No, they don't speak. Ogres speak their own language. Orcs, trolls, and stone giants. They don't even speak goblin.
Okay.
So sucks to be them.
Give me the color of a goblin.
Green.
They range from yellow through dull orange to brick red. So I guess no. I would have thought you think like with the green goblin.
Right.
They're not green.
No.
Some yellow. That's very different, don't you think, than most people think?
Yeah. I would definitely not think of them like that.
Okay. What color are their eyes?
Yellow.
Yeah, many are I love lemon yellow. You have beautiful eyes.
That's jaundice, isn't that?
Yes, they have
jaundice.
Or is it scurvy or something? I don't know. Maybe no. Scurvy, you eat the lemons.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Jaundice, you're lemon colored. Reddish to lemon yellow. They dress in dark leather gear. Their garments tend toward dull, soiled-looking colors: brown, drab, dirty gray, stained maroon. They reach the age of 50 years or so. I love goblins. Goblins are visiting in the halls of Tizenthane. I love playing the goblins in Tizenthane. So, all right.
Goblins are great overall. I mean, and unfortunately, players tend to poo-poo them. You know, but the first time you play that first level character, whether it's a kobold or a goblin, I mean, there's a special place for them, and you can make them powerful. I mean, 50 goblins. You know what's also good about them, especially if you have fighters, because they're less than 1 hit dice, you can make your fighters feel super cool because they get 1 attack per level if they're under 1 hit dice. So they can have that feeling of, you know, kind of waving through bad guys, which they normally don't do. So that's what's fun about goblins.
That's right, because I didn't even mention the hit dice. I skipped over it. You're
1 to 7.
Right. 1 to 7. So do you how do you do that?
I do a D8 and just drop the 8.
I think that would be right, as opposed to subtracting 1, because then you get the problem with the 1. But then the 8, it doesn't matter either way. I guess you're gonna might have a second roll. Okay, which I'll be doing soon. All right.
Yeah. All right. So now we're in the 66th layer of the abyss. The Shadow Mastiff, who's parenthetically evil.
Everything's so chaotic now. My goblin buddy doesn't like this very well. Everything's so chaotic.
That is odd.
They need order. All right. So are we ready to do distance?
Hold on. I don't know what happened.
Do we lose?
We're on. Did we lose that? Let's see. I know we're recording still, but
Because this is gold. I wouldn't want to lose this.
I don't know what happened. We had some connection problem. It says we're streaming, so hold on. Oh, that's not good. You and I are connected. That is so weird. Well, I don't want to change it if something...
I can text somebody, see if they see us.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what happened. Yeah, it just blew up.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm going to try to get back to it. Hold on. Yeah, it sounds about right. Let's see. I don't know if Because you and I are still talking fine.
Vic says he sees us. I just texted Vic, and he says he sees us.
Okay, that's odd. But the chat stopped working.
Oh.
How annoying.
Oh yeah, because we'll certainly want it up and running for the Erol Otus interview.
Yeah.
Chat doesn't work. Yeah, Vic says the chat doesn't.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on. Hold on, let me try this. That's what's fun about live things. It's always something. But
Well,
you and I sound good, but they say everything's working, right? People can see us?
Vic says yes. He says the chat doesn't work.
That's odd. That's so odd because some of my internet's some of the other things aren't working. But if it's...
You want to start all anew?
Well, yeah, I'm a little concerned because it's... All right, let me check something. Let me check real quick. Check with the production goblin if he's seen something.
Do you want me to get Lord of the Rings and read from the Bombadil chapter?
Well, it's funny people were asking. That was the second thing.
All right, I'll be back.
No, please, for the love of God, don't do that.
Why? You don't know how long it's going to take you to fix this, do you?
Just confirm with him that we're still on, because I can't see.
YouTube must be having technical difficulties with chat, Vic says. Hang on, putting Vic's coming on the line. Hold on. Yeah, okay, do I have your approval to put you on GROGTALK?
I don't care. I can
All right.
my computer.
Here's Vic Dorsa. Well, wait. So, what are you seeing, Vic? Anything? We need.
I'm seeing it just fine.
Oh, okay.
See, that's
How many
so
fingers?
weird.
How many fingers am I?
Fingers?
How many fingers am I holding?
I'm holding up my favorite to you, but
We seem to be up, but we just lost the chat. All right. Okay. Thank you, Vic.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep it going because I'm not going to change it till the intermission.
Bye. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay,
Yep.
good.
Okay. Thanks.
The chat must have gone. That's so weird.
All right. Thank you, Scourge. Okay. Bye.
All right. Let's keep going.
Well, but at some point you're gonna want to figure out the chat before the Erol Otus,
Yeah.
right?
When we break to Erol, we'll stop that nonsense.
Okay.
Here's the other thing I can do.
Well, who needs the chat? I got this. Come on. I
Exactly.
don't need the chat.
You got 400 pages of notes. He
Who
doesn't.
needs the chat? Okay.
Let's see. All right, so we're ready for surprise while this nonsense is going on.
Oh, that's right. Surprise before distance. How quickly I forget, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, a 1.
Ooh, a 3.
Oh, you got surprise.
So you're like,
I
don't want to say what you're doing. You're like,
I'm surprised.
You're washing yourself. Don't you think? Always a risk. It's, you should be doing that in the abyss. That's dangerous.
Yeah,
okay.
That's so odd.
I hope the distance is.
Oh, it's 10 to 30 feet, so
I need 10 to have a shot, right?
It's 10 feet. There you go.
Yes. Okay. Vic wants to know if you're struck by lightning again.
Just recently, probably.
Okay. All right. I get an attack. How many hit dice do you have?
I have some. I'll just say that.
Well, you get them back, don't you?
Well, first of all, we have to figure out what light we're in. We're going to give you a chance. Remember, we talked about the light.
Oh, yes. What do I? Yes.
So we're going to use the shade from Monster Manual 2, the shade, to kind of figure out what type of light it is, because we have no idea.
Okay.
Hold on. So we said so roll a d8.
Pointy one. 8.
Total darkness.
This is incredible. So I'm not at any sort of penalty. I have infravision. I see this shape. Something weird is going on. I see this head kind of, moving.
Well, that's good for you.
Leg in the air.
Because I don't think he can delve in and out of the shadows because there are no shadows. So he's just normal at this point.
Oh wait, yeah, my infravision. I'm not. Are you different light source? Do I pick up?
Yeah.
Would my infravision work on? Well, there's probably a difference in air current. I mean, you have some substance to you, don't
Right, it's
you?
just total. It's just dark. I have some. I think I would say yes. I'm feeling very generous to the goblin.
Wait, so you're a shadow in the darkness. That's really bad for me, isn't it?
No, darkness. If shadows would be way worse for you. Darkness.
Oh,
is
that's
bad.
right, because you have nothing to hide in.
That's right.
It's right. Brightness would be like a thief.
That
So this is actually bad for you.
Right.
You're like, you're trying to hide and you can't find anything. Perfect.
Exactly. You're in much better shape for that. So.
I'm attacking.
All right. So make your hit. This is armor class. Okay, I know the armor class. Armor class 6.
It's a 19.
That's a
Do you need me
hit.
to
No.
turn this and show?
I'm totally good with it.
Okay, 1 to 6, I guess. We'll do the standard.
Yep.
Okay. Or no, can I roll percentage to see what weapon I've got?
Sure, if you want.
Thank you.
It'll probably be a dagger.
I rolled a 1, a 0-1.
No.
It's a short sword and military pick. Ooh. What does more damage? A military pick. Oh, I like the idea of that.
Yeah, I don't think it does more damage though.
Probably not. All right.
Well, let's see. I'll have to go to the player's handbook. Military pick. Most people don't
Pick.
use that, so I'm going to
Oh.
assume it's less.
No, it's 2 to 7 and 2 to 8.
Oh, okay.
What's your size?
Well, that's assuming it's a footman's. Okay, it's a footman's.
Oh wait, well, you think? Oh, you're right. Thank you, James. Isn't there a percentage chance I'm riding a warg?
Sure.
Do they tell us the chance?
No.
Wait, yeah, there's a 25% chance that any force of goblins encountered will have a 10% of its strength mounted on huge wolves.
Okay, there's a 25% chance that 10% of them will be.
Yes, if I was a force.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna go with it.
I'll give you
All right.
25% chance you have a warg.
All right, let's do it. All right.
Because you have no
rolling it.
chance if you don't have a warg.
Well, okay. Where's that? 41.
Yeah.
I'm wargless.
You're without a warg.
So that would be a footman's.
Sure.
I probably wouldn't, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you?
Which,
what
by
are
the
you-
way,
what
is
size?
4 foot tall. This thing's giant to you, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh! Wait, is this? How can I use that?
Yeah.
I can use a footman's pick. It's then it must be a horse. How long? Oh, it's got to be a horseman's. I can't. It's 2.5. Well, that's the space required. The length is 2.5. It's 2.5 feet. I'm 4 feet. What do you think?
It's pretty big.
What do you think I'm wielding?
Use the footman's. You're a super goblin. Why not?
But what do you think? No, it's a more fundamental question. What do you think they would be using?
I think they would be using a horseman's one. I would think I've never seen one with that. So to me, that's just crazy one way or another.
No, let's do the horse. It's got to be the horseman's. I can't use a footman's. There's no way. It's too big, right?
It's pretty big. It's 4
I'd
foot
be like
long.
swinging that thing around. It's like swinging me. It hit me in the head.
That just seems.
I know. I want realism.
Oh, you want realism?
need-
This is the wrong game for that. But okay.
No, I want realism. All right. So it's 1 to 6. Here we go.
Yeah.
5.
Wow.
Are you dead?
No.
Are you dead?
No. The good news, I did the hit points last time. I'm hurt. Now it's
Are you
initiative.
You're whimpering? Let's do it.
Okay.
6.
Wait a minute.
What?
Let's declare action.
Oh, do I lose that roll?
No, I'll let you keep the roll. What are you going to do?
I'm attacking.
Okay.
We never have any. You're right. We need to teach the kids at home properly. You're right.
Right. And I think I'm going to use my baying, and so you have to flee in terror. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Oh, you're a jerk.
Yeah. I rolled a 5, so you go.
Oh, cool. Sounds like I better kill you. Yeah, but then you're just going to try to chase me down, and we're just going to continue. But I guess you get like an opportunity attack.
I move at 18, so I'll definitely hunt you down.
Fine, I want you to. I rolled a 13.
13. You're a goblin.
What is that? So there's a 1 minus 1 and under
Yeah.
column?
Yeah. 1 minus 1. 13's close enough that I have to look it up.
This Goblin has to win because I want to wear my Goblin t-shirt next episode.
You can just say you can just then make whatever roll you want.
No. What?
You need a 14.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just foul.
Just missed.
Can I do an instant replay?
No, you can't do an instant replay.
right.
Now you need to make a saving throw. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't need it. You hear the baying of panic, and the pack of it says. See, remember we talked about this? The baying of a pack of shadow mastiffs. We still think one is going to cause people to panic.
Right, but then is there anything more to us? But John, I'm just panicking.
Right, but then
you
that's certain to cause panic, and then if you will run away and dropping any item unless a save versus spell is made.
So is that what I'm doing?
Yeah. Well, if we're saying a one can burn,
I'm gonna drop my. That's terrible.
Right.
I can grapple you.
Well, first you're running away, so you're gonna have to make a saving throw to see if you drop your pick.
Okay. Oh, an 8.
Yeah. Well, no, that's pretty good because there's 9 less, so 17 against spell.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh,
because for each one less mastiff from 10, you get a +1 to your save.
I remember this now. It's coming back like a dream.
So you made it. You just made it. So you have your thing.
Yes.
So now it's initiative. You're going to be running away in terror. I'm going to get my opportunity attack.
Oh, that means I'm still running in panic. I just don't drop my stuff. I held on to I was smart enough to hold on to my car keys.
That's correct. That's
right. And my wallet.
Right, but you attacked. Okay. You missed.
Right.
I did the baying. You're now going to turn around in terror. Now we're going to see initiative.
Okay.
3. Simultaneous. So I get to attack. And you get to run, and then I get my opportunity attack, which is super fun.
So can you only bay once? Is that what happens?
It doesn't say, but I'm going to say that's all you can do is bay once.
Okay. Okay, got it. Just checking to make sure everyone can still see us, Chat is unable to connect. Oh, he's on the screen. Yeah, so that's I've got updated information for you, James.
Yep.
Chat is unable to connect is on the screen. That's what it's saying.
Yeah, the chat's gone.
Questions will be coming over the grog line for Erol Otus. Oh.
Well, that may have to. Because, I'm not sure what's going on. We'll have to. There's still some shenanigans that we're dealing with. All right, so here's his first attack. What's your armor class? 6?
6.
Let's see if that hits. Yeah, we're still moving.
Show must go on. Oh, I hope Malubik comes, because that's who I'm praying to. That would be awesome. What'd you roll?
I rolled the 8. I have to see if I hit.
Oh, if you hit with an 8, I got problems.
Yeah. Hold on before. Oh, I'm just letting people know in the chat.
Oh, what's your hit dice? I'll look it up. What's your hit dice?
4.
Okay. Oh, you're not. Come on. You're not gonna. If that hits, I'm complaining to Gary Gygax.
It's pretty good. I think I'm almost hitting you.
You needed a 9, is what I see.
But you're running.
Oh no! What does that mean? From behind?
That's right. +2.
+2? Oh.
No, this one missed because this is before you ran. Now it's my opportunity attack. Now it's at +2.
Wait, why is it before I ran?
Because we simultaneous initiative.
Oh, so you think when I lose, but last turn I lost.
No, last turn you won initiative, you missed.
So
I bayed, caused you to panic. Now we simultaneous initiative.
And the panic doesn't. So what you're saying is the panic sort of doesn't take effect until the initiative round in which I rolled.
And we did simultaneous. So you couldn't do your action yet. So.
Okay.
So I tried to attack. I missed you. Now you're turned and running, and now I get my +2 attack. This time I hit with an 18.
Oh, this is terrible.
So I do 2 to 8. Ooh, I did 2 hit points. Let's see how many hit points you have.
Wait, I'm rolling. I gotta roll this, right? It's my life, buddy. Okay.
D8.
So 8 is a reroll, right? Oh gosh. 3.
3. You have 1 hit point.
I'm alive. I'm alive. Prepare to die.
Okay. Well, now you're running. So you ran. You're moving your double movement, and
But
so
you're
now
attacking me. Wait, isn't it? It's like a turn. You've broken the panic. I mean, look, I'm going to defend. I'm just going to lay there.
you're not gonna. You think you're gonna? Well, no. I think with fear, you just keep getting attacked. But okay, I'll give you that. I'll say.
Well, it's not a fear spell. I just say like a fear spell.
That's kind of like a fear spell.
A fear, you just like allow someone to attack you. It's not like being but turning is like the ultimate fear.
Right.
And everyone says that you break the turn. That no one is going to no undead is just going to let themselves be
Pummeled
butchered
to death.
to death.
Yeah. Well, they're being panicked. So okay, I'll give that to you. So now it's initiative.
I mean, you're attacking. All right. Well, don't give me any, gifts. 5.
I rolled a 5 too, simultaneous. We both attack.
Oh, I'm in big trouble. I have 1 hit point.
He's
Stupid dog.
woof woof.
Yeah. And 11.
19.
Oh, the knockout punch.
Sorry, buddy.
Malubuk's coming. No, you'll be sorry in a second when Malubuk
All right,
comes.
so you take 4 points. So that is the end of the goblin.
Did I miss you?
With a what? What'd you roll?
I rolled an 11.
Yeah, I think you
Did
need a
I?
14. Didn't?
Okay. I already forgotten. All right. Time to pray.
Yep. Divine intervention.
Here we go. What's my chance? I'm in chaos. It's 10%, I guess.
It's 10% at best.
At best. I know, because it's like, well, there's the evil kind of connection, just not the lawful and the.
Chaotic and lawful. They're
24.
It's totally bad. So. All right. So. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can. So
Get
he's.
the chat going.
Yeah. Well, that and. Here's what I'm going to try to do. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this going. Because people are not losing their minds. They're like they're going to try to call on the grog line or text us, and that's not going to work. That's going to be more problems than it's worth.
When we put the grog line number up there, we didn't actually mean for you to call us.
Well, we did, but we didn't think people would actually do it. That's the part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but during the intermission, I'm going to have to restart everything. It's too bad because this is looking great. I really don't want to futz with it, but I'm afraid it's going to get worse. So, but if I get the chat working on here, that'll be good enough. Just hold on just a second. I just need to, of course, all of this is supposed to work just fine, and then it doesn't. And we're delaying, and we're delaying, and we're trying to find information that we need. Is it here? Oh, I guess I gotta do it this way. Hold on, folks, sorry.
You need that experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh, I could put, I probably should do that. Oh, jeez, how am I supposed to cut? All right, hold on. Can this be more painful?
I don't know.
It feels pretty painful.
I like just sitting here.
Yeah, okay. I can't deal with this right now. This is not going to happen. Just know I can see the chat. Just know that. So if you have questions.
Yeah. So you see the chat. So people are chatting and you see it. Hold on. We got an update.
Oh, reconnections. Wow, we may be having to bail sooner than that. But all right, but you can still hear me, right?
Hang on, I got an update though. Hold on. I'm sorry. Ah, we went dead, says Vic Dorso.
Yeah, it's a blank screen.
Well, now, but I'm looking at mine. It's still working.
You don't see any, it's dead right now, Vic?
No, it just came back on.
Okay, just came back on.
Maybe it's a lightning storm that's going on.
Again with bandwidth issues.
It could be that. It's hard to say. I need to look this. Yeah, see, everything's good here. It's so weird.
It's a friggin' 66 layer.
Oh, well, now things, okay,
Bye.
things are coming
Thank you.
back, so we'll see
Dude,
what
it's
happens.
it's Lolth. Friggin', this place is freaking me out, James.
Well, you know, the good news now, okay, now we're coming back, things are coming back, so that's good. All right, hold on. It is freaking me out. This is...
I'm surprised you didn't do like a green screen background with like a bunch of fire and flames.
I should have. I just didn't have, you know what? Didn't have time.
I understand, my friend.
It was, well, Wednesday, after, you know, just before I'm heading out, the router just stops working, totally dies, which is awesome. We do need to sacrifice more nodes.
Do we need to make a sacrifice? Is that what someone's suggesting?
We do need to see that. We need to sacrifice. Okay, let me fix this stuff.
We need to sacrifice a gnome? Yeah, we're going to do that in a second. While you're doing that, I'm going to get out the assassin's table.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. That's curious. Because now I'm able to chat, but I can't fix the chat on here. All right, let's keep moving on. Because people didn't sign up for this nonsense. You know, it worked last week. It worked fine with Jason. So every week it's a new discovery. All right, so what's next? The next is spell selection.
Okay, so if I remember where we were, so we're rolling for surprise. My goblin is heading down.
No.
That's where we were, right?
No, we're not. He's dead. We're moving on.
Okay.
Goblin dead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Spell selection. Let's do it. I'm rolling percentile. It's a 50 magic user, right?
Yeah, 50 is definitely magic user.
How many level spells are there for magic user? There are 9, I believe, right?
That is correct. There's 9.
I'll roll it. Looks like you probably got your hands full. Ooh, it's a 6, and now it's 24. I will roll that as well. It is a 7. I have no idea what this spell is. It's called Extension 3.
Okay, that's an interesting spell.
Is it? All right, I'll read it if you want to keep working on what you're working on. I don't even know what I sound like the guy who didn't even see the first 2 movies, and I'm showing up to see the 3rd movie.
Right, it's going to tell you go back to the previous one, but go ahead.
Yeah, because I don't know what Extension 1 and Extension 2 are. Please don't let it be as long as Enchant an Item. Oh, it's short, but yeah, this spell is the same, of course. As a 4th level Extension 1, except that it will extend 1st through 3rd level spells to double duration. Oh! What do you call those things with, like, the, where you like boosting a signal? Like, for, like, the Wi-Fi or whatever?
Amplifier.
So this is like this. This is like an
booster,
amplifier?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It'll extend 1st through 3rd level spells to double duration, and will extend the duration of 4th or 5th level spells by 50%. Okay, I had no idea this existed. So what level was Extension 1?
I believe it's 4th level.
Oh wow! So you go. So it's 4th, 5th, 6th level. Oh, so they move up quickly once you reach that level. Okay, so I'm heading to Extension 1. Oh, well, this is my kind of entry.
Right.
It's like 5 lines. By use of an Extension 1 spell, the magic user prolongs the duration of a previously cast 1st, 2nd, or 3rd level spell by 50%. Thus, a levitation spell can be made to function 1.5 turns per level, a whole person spell made to work for 3 rounds per level, etc. Naturally, the spell has the effect only on such spells where duration is meaningful. Okay, so it's not like doubling the power of you're not getting double magic missiles, things
Right.
like that.
It's just the duration for the most part.
So what's a spell where duration is a real big deal? I mean, obviously, Gary noted levitation. What would be some other spells that you can think of? I hope you can multitask here. I'm putting you on the spot.
For duration, that would be important?
Yeah.
Well, I would say haste would be...
Haste.
Yes.
Good one. You are right. Because you've talked about that spell's gold.
Yes, haste is powerful.
Wait, do you get an extra aging?
It doesn't say that.
Right.
I mean, you could infer that. You'd get a year and a half then, if it was 50% duration. I would definitely think about that.
You're mean. Okay, let me see if Gary mentioned anything about if anyone. I don't think anyone was abusing the haste spell, right? I mean, how could you? No, not the haste spell. It was abusing the extension spell. Let me see. I got to get to magic user spell. 4th level. Yes, we have an entry.
Really?
For extension 1. The entry is almost as long in the DMG as it is in the player's handbook. This spell must be cast after the spell to be extended. Oh, whether by another magic user during the same round or the initial spellcaster or another immediately preceding the casting of the extension. So this spell must be cast after the spell to be extended, whether by another magic user during the same round or the initial spellcaster or another immediately preceding the casting of... So in other words, what people were abusing it is they're like, Gary, I'm casting haste and extension at the same time. And Gary's like, no, you can't do that.
Right.
And they would say, where does it say that? And Gary'd say, in the DMG that I'll be publishing soon enough, right? So that was, I guess, the abuse?
Exactly.
Well, that seems pretty obvious to me that you shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, they're two different... Chad is back.
Yes.
413 and Chad is back. It's like one of those... That's what happens always the opening band. The guitar doesn't work. The amp's not working, right? They're coming out and they're checking it, and people are like, really? If a round elapses, the extension goes for naught. Help me with that. Are you able to help me with that? I know, because you're obviously doing IT work. You're like the roadie doing the work on the guitar, and I'm like asking you questions.
I'm the
right?
guy trying to carve out the bass player from Spinal Tap when he's trying to get out of the pod.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm like asking you questions. He's like, really? I'm a little busy here. So.
What page are you on the DMG?
Page 45.
Okay, that's helpful. And this must be cast after spell to be extended, whether by another hit. So you have to do it within the round, the next round. If you don't do it that time, then it's for naught. Then you can't do the extension.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. So can you take it back? So initiative is a big deal. Like, what's the casting time on this thing? Now that's a big deal, right?
It's pretty
Meaning
quick.
it has to actually be completed by the end of the round, right?
By the end of the next round.
Oh, by the end of the next round.
Right.
Well, what if I'm another because if I'm a magic user on my own spell, I can't do 2 spells in one round. So I've got to cast it in one round.
Spell must be cast after the spell to be extended, whether by another spellcaster during the same round, or the initial spellcaster or another immediately preceding the casting of the extension.
Immediately preceding. What is that? I don't understand that. Or another immediately preceding the casting. It says immediately preceding. That makes it sound like I can cast the extension right after.
It must be the next spell. That's what it's saying.
Yeah, but that makes it sound like I don't have to. I have to wait for the next round. So I'm a spellcaster, and I say, "You're Gary." I say, and you say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, where are you?" "Oh, you're behind that filing cabinet." "Okay, Gary, what I want to do is I want to cast haste, and then I'm going to cast immediately thereafter in the same round. I'm going to cast extension 1. What do you say to me? Okay?
Say that again? I'm trying to go through the process.
I'm going to cast
haste.
My declared action is cast haste, and then immediately in this round.
No.
Boo.
No, you don't get to cast 2 spells. That would be a big break of precedent.
Well, what is it? But it says if a round elapses, the extension goes for naught. But then the round's going to elapse. But we know the initial spellcaster can do it.
If a round, that's if more than a round between the castings, not the round. It doesn't say if the round elapses. It says if a round.
Oh, so in other words, I see. So it's got like, so in other words, the extension's only going to work while they're still at right, so at a certain, the front end kind of the spell. So at a certain point, it's kind of like you got to jump on the bus. That bus is leaving, and you got to jump on that bus within a round.
Yes.
Do I get the whole round? Like, what if you cast a spell in round 1, segment 1? Do I get all the way? Is it 10 segments? Or do I get like all the way to the end of the next round?
You get to the next round for the most part.
That's what you would say.
Yes.
Okay. So in other words, he doesn't want people like, you got to decide. What are you going to do? Are you going to put the extension on it or not?
That's right.
Is the way you read that. Okay. All right. But another spellcaster can do it.
Correct. Based on what this said, which I didn't even think you could, but that's interesting.
But you got to wait.
Well,
you can't do it before.
That's very powerful because I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. So you can do it if you're coordinating. This is where players are doing stuff they shouldn't do. Where like when they're talking about declared action, they're sitting around going, I was thinking about doing a haste spell. Yeah, really? Well, you know what? I've got an extension spell. You know what you should do? You should cast. Well, that's not the way it's going down in Melee, probably, right?
Right. Well, the other thing is bad guys could do it to other people's spells.
Ooh. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So
I don't know why they would, but there could be a way they could take advantage of that.
Extension 1 is only 2 segments.
Right. So it's pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't know. Extension 2 is 4 segments. Wait for it. Extension 3, 5 seconds. Wait, 2, 4, 5. Okay. I like that. I learned something.
Yeah, we never used it. I mean, I understood that it did extensions, but it wasn't that great. Originally,
what you could do.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, this is what you do. This is a mass combat spell. I've got my goblinoid army, and I've got my witch doctor. And my witch doctors, I got a bunch of witch doctors. They're going to, so some of the witch doctors are casting haste, and then others are casting extension, right? And couldn't you use it like maybe in
There's 2 problems with that. Neither of them can cast either of those, but that you'll learn that in the next
because it's
session.
too high. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. They're too high, I assume. No. Okay, you're right. I got the evil magic user.
Yes.
Who's leading the goblins, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, all right. That's interesting. So do you think people use stuff like that in a foot race to cheat? Is there all sort of cheating going on?
I'm sure.
Like the drug violations we have. Do they have he was using haste. Everyone's being tested. We're doing detect magic.
Detecting magic,
though. Wait, with that, if your spell is cast on you, or do you detect magic work?
There could be, and I think I would say yes. If you have magic on you, there would be some dwemer, and especially since you remember our dear friend in our game, who said the magic user detect magic has a 10% chance per level to identify if the school of magic that it came from.
So you'd have to do like drug testing. You'd have to detect magic going on at the beginning of the events. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I think if that was no magic, so.
Okay.
All
right.
That's very again. It's an interesting play to that. So. All right. Well, it looks like our issues have been resolved for now, and hopefully they will stay that way. My concern is, and for those who care, the cable-provided device decided to give up the ghost on Wednesday. I got a new one, which of course everyone knows is new to me. It's not new after standing in line with every other COVID victim. And so I'm sure that it's going to work for a while, then stop, and work for a while, and stop. So this is awesome. So I'm going to probably have to go back, don my hazmat suit, and get another one at some point. So
right.
Looking forward to it. Okay. So past spell selection. Now we're going to talk about why we're on the 66 layer. Why are we on the 66 layer?
Well, we're on number 1. It's the 66 episode.
That's correct. So that's 66 episodes of this chicanery and tomfoolery, Tom Bombadil.
Tom Bombadil-ness. So yeah, and secondly, because listen, it's a great episode to be on the 66 layer, because we know that Erol Otus is well known for his artwork about on the Drow.
Yep.
And they have a little something to do with the 66 layer, my
Yes,
understanding.
correct.
So this is okay. So Lolth. I mean, everybody loves Lolth, right? It was a comedy show, I think, wasn't it, in the early 80s? Everybody loves Lolth.
Everyone loves Lolth. That's right.
And now Lolth is good. Now, okay, Lolth trivia.
Lolth trivia.
Lolth appears in 2 separate 1E books. Can you name them?
I can, because I did some research for the show, but
Well, that's the only reason well, that's okay. Listen, you if you studied, you get the benefit of that. So what would those be?
in chronological order,
Wow. Yeah, sure, why not?
I believe in chronological order, this month, 40 years ago, it would have appeared in this book. Is that correct?
You are correct, sir. The Deities and Demigods.
The Deities
book,
and
correct.
Demigods. So, in August of 1980, right? This is when it came out?
Correct. August of 1980. That is correct. Yeah, 40
And-
years ago this month.
And prominently on the cover, of course, is who we hope to speak to, Erol Otus. And on page 92 is the description of the non-human deities, elves, drow, Lolth, demon queen of spiders.
Now, it's interesting, because she's a demon queen, but she's also a lesser goddess. Can you help me with that? I ask the tough questions. Right, so it says she's a lesser goddess, but she's a demon queen, and she's in the abyss.
Right.
So is she a god, or is
Well,
she a demon?
Yes.
Do you remember that song, I Fell in Love with a Little Demon? Wasn't that a song? I Fell in Love with a Little Demon?
I fell in love
Or was it a
with
Little Devil?
I think so.
I
Little Devil. Not
Is it Little
demon.
Devil? Well, we'll change to demon. We'll do it about Lolth. So what is she?
So
Demon or
she's a demon.
Or god?
She's a demon queen, like a demon lord or demon lady. I guess they don't call it demon ladies. What are they called here?
She is so killing you. You got to get this. You are lasting like 3 seconds in front of her.
But she is a lesser
Ladiness,
goddess.
huh?
Yeah. So it's basically because demon lords in the monster manual, they don't have that parenthetical lesser god, but they've decided at some point to equate the demons with lesser gods. And I hope I'm right, but I'm going to look to see if I'm right, because I'm going to go to Knowles.
Yeah, is there oh yes, I believe he is there. He is. Well, it's very close. In page, where is it?
It's next page, but it just says he's a demon prince. Doesn't say he's a lesser deity, which is too bad.
Oh, there it is. Knowles. Yeah, he doesn't get an entry there. So he worshipped the demon prince.
Right.
Yeah,
And the same thing with the Ixotaxil,
Right.
who worshipped Demogorgon.
Do you know who did the Vaprak illustration?
I don't.
Come on.
I'm going to just be It's going to say, oh, of course.
Right? Because it's awesome. And he also did Kurtulamak.
I did not know that.
It's
Kurtulamak.
awesome. He did the Kuatoa one as well. It's awesome. So, all right. So
He did a bunch of them in here, obviously.
He did a lot. Okay, so Lolth appears in two. So let's start with pronunciation. I say Lolth. I used to say Loth.
I used
but-
to say Lolth, but now I say Lolth. Because we have Lol, L-O-L. That's why.
Right, the L there. Correct. Now, I was interested. Now this was what was very frightening to me. So she will appear on the prime material plane as a. You're just like, that's right. As a giant Black Widow. Right?
Yes.
Am I correct? That's disturbing.
Very disturbing.
She usually takes the form of a giant black widow spider when she's on the prime material plane. Now, my understanding is that if you're a demon, I think it said this somewhere, you got to be summoned or called. She doesn't just go to the prime material plane to hang out, right? I think doesn't someone have to summon you?
There has to be a way for her to get there. Yes.
Okay.
But,
so that's at least.
But there's her background is kind of fleshed out in the modules, which we'll talk about. So my question to you is, and then the second book it's in is in the Fiend Folio.
Correct.
Which came out in '81, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, that's correct. I think it was really delayed, but yes.
So why does she get 2 entries? Obviously the Drow are in the Fiend Folio, but why was it in both?
I don't know, and I don't know if I'm digging the picture, the drawing of her in the Fiend Folio so much. Are you? It's got just kind of her little face there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not as good.
I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know why. They seem to be the same. I looked at them and they looked fairly consistent. I didn't pick up any obvious differences. I think they're consistent.
But what's good about the Fiend Folio, it confirms what I was saying. If you read the first sentence, the demoness, Lolth, is a very powerful and feared demon lord.
Yeah.
So a demon lord is equal to a lesser goddess. So.
Oh, okay. So based upon. It says lesser goddess up there too.
That's right.
Well, they had to because she was already lesser goddess here.
Yes. So you can infer that the demon lord, she's a lesser goddess. Lesser goddesses are demon lords.
Okay. Okay.
Which is less than a demigod.
Right. Which is.
I mean, it was more than a demigod. Excuse me. It'd be demigod, lesser goddess.
Oh yeah, because demi, you're part god, lesser.
Right.
Which we know makes right. What I thought was interesting is that demons, this amulet business.
Yep.
And this is talked about in the Fiend Folio. Had this been talked about anywhere before that you know of, this amulet business?
I'm not aware of it. So
this is a big deal. So Lolth has all demons have these amulets that stores their power?
Their essence.
Their essence. So Lolth's essence is stored in an amulet somewhere?
That's what it says.
And if I get this, you know where I'm going with this.
I'm sure it's going to go somewhere.
So I find this. I'm walking along on the gnome, and I'm like, "What's that?" It's shiny, and I pick it up, and it's Lolth's, and I take it to Saul.
Yep.
To identify.
He probably would charge a little bit more than normal.
Well, but he doesn't know. Well, wait a second. But he doesn't know. It's just like, what is this? I found this shiny, and it could be anything, right? The amulets, they look like normal things, don't they? Oh, small containers. Small containers. They're souls. So I find this little container, and I guess I can't open it or something, right? It looks magical. I do detect magic on it. It's magical container. So I bring it to Saul, and Saul says, so if he did identify, do you think that Saul would be able to identify this as containing Lolth's essence?
No.
Or soul? No. Really? Why not? Come on, boo.
Because you need legend lore to learn legendary things.
Would he know that it contains the essence of a demon?
Possibly. He would not know Lolth's thing. Absolutely not.
Okay, but now, all right, but that's fine. I know there's a demon essence in there. So now
I would say he would. There's an essence of a very powerful creature. That's what I would say. There's
an essence. He could probably detect evil.
Yes.
Great evil.
That's right. Whatever the top evil. I forgot. It's not moderate.
Is it space melt?
It's right. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just kind of thing. Exactly.
Or Saul. Okay. So now I can control Lolth, correct? I mean, I don't know who did it.
You don't know that, but yes, you could.
But how do I do that? I get 24 hours. It's like a movie, 24 hours with Lolth.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. How do I know that? How do I do that? Just like.
Or you can destroy it and send it back for a year.
No. Buddy, I'm using this thing. I got 24 hours. Start the clock. It says that I just like how it says it's very, very dangerous. Possession of one doubles the chances of calling the attention of another demon. Who cares? And any demon not controlled by the device will immediately attack. Oh, who cares? If the amulet leaves the hand, it doesn't tell me though, does it? Like, how do I? Like on the positive side, if I'm nice to the demon, I guess it'll be nice back to me. How do I use this now? How do I? So okay, I've got the. What do I do? I've got this little container, and it's got Lolth inside there. Any idea of how do I use this thing? How do I control Lolth?
How do you control it? Because you have it, and she can be summoned.
Oh, so I say, how do I summon? Hey, whoever's in this, do I think hard?
Well, you still have to do more. First of all, you, Dan Gromansky, are going to do nothing with this, because the demon doesn't have to appear. I guess it could appear.
I bet it's power over it. Possession of an amulet gives the possessor power over the demon to whom it belongs.
Well, again, where did you find this amulet? You somehow
it was in the bushes.
Okay. So you're here on the prime material plane. So the question is, how is the demon getting here? Is it coming here on its own will? Or you're going to have to gate it in, or some kind of way to bring the demon in?
Can I just use its name?
Well, you have to know its name. You just have its amulet.
The real name.
That's right.
It's carved on it. Oh, so I got to figure. So this stinks.
This is not like a movie where you're just showing up and you're walking and you've kind of like the Lord of the Rings, where you should pop in and go, bloop, oh, there's the ring. Oh, no.
So you're making it. It's a whole big problem.
This would be a big production. That's right.
It is a big production. So right, Howdy, you're not gonna make it easy for me to control Lolth for 24 hours.
Well, that's right.
But so if I could figure it out, I could bring her here, and she'd be like a big black widow spider. I could be like, yeah, attack that village.
Yes.
That's awesome.
If that's, she would want. She may add another hour to the time, because that's a bonus hour.
A bonus time. That's right.
I'll do that one for free. Your time doesn't start yet.
That's right. This is awesome.
I'll just attack it now.
What's your alignment? Oh, awful good.
That's right. But I hate those. I hate that candle merchant. He's a jerk.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. I was surprised about how many. So only 66 hit points.
Yes.
But hard to hit. But not on the prime material plane. It's just -2.
Yes, that's right.
Is it easy for Lolth to get out of the prime material plane? Like, so she's there as a big black widow spider hanging out in the sun in a big web. I don't know if they're web builders. How does she get out of there? Can she just do they have blink
They can travel through the astral and ethereal planes.
Oh, so she can just kind of come out of here. Demons can be summoned by characters of any alignment, but controlling a demon is another matter entirely. A special pentacle is required for demons of type 6 or greater. So yeah, okay, there's a whole conjurers type thing. Okay. So why can I see this? So what I like about Lolth is that she commands all spiders, basically, right?
Yep.
She's got lots of them around. So I assume if I encountered Lolth, there might just be a bunch of spiders all around. Giant, small. Mm-hmm. Why did the drow? Now I get that because she is the demon queen of spiders. How is it? Why do the drow like Lolth?
Yeah, why did she become their? I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, I didn't know if that was answered in D3 or Q1.
So it may have, but there's a lot of text in those, and so I don't know that for a fact.
Right.
And when you're running the module, I don't do that. So what we're talking about, for those who are listening, who've stomached through this, is maybe Lolth has appeared in more adventures, but the two that I'm aware of is her first appearance, that you can actually fight her, is D3, which is Vault of the Drow, which, hey, look who did this cover.
Yeah, Erol Otus, that's the second cover. Why can you fight her in D3? Because Q1, you're in the demon web pits, right?
Right.
So she's hanging out.
Yes, and she actually is statted on page 26 of the module.
That's the first time she appears, right? So she's actually in 3 different places, right?
What's the third place?
Well, meaning the module. She's in the module, she's in the Deities and Demigods, and she's in Fiend Folio.
Well, and then she's in the fourth place, which is Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
Statted again.
Correct.
Okay.
Because there is the Great Fane of Lolth, and in there you can fight basically what's called the Avatar of Lolth.
Oh, not Lolth herself then.
Well, it is. So the idea of, and I think they talk about this in Deities and Demigods, but I could be wrong, is that when you fight a deity.
Oh yes, not on their plane.
Yeah, you're fighting an avatar.
Right.
So
Right.
someone asked, Dave, are the stats the same? I believe they are. I'm going to read
Yeah.
real quick.
I think they are. I looked at them last night. The good
66
news is,
hit points, minus 10, 2. The 4 to 16, 70%, genius, chaotic evil, large, parentheses, medium, 266 sonic ability. Excuse me. Yes, I think that's about the same.
yeah, I looked at it last night. I didn't pick up anything that looked terribly different. So,
I think
Okay.
they're the same in all of them. But to say I went through all 4 versions, I did not.
well, and what I like about Lolth is that you actually get statistics for her on the prime material plane and stats for her in the abyss, which, has been one of my things with the deities and demigods is, I think Jim Ward told us that deities are supposed to be, well, it's probably in the book is where it is, very, very difficult to kill on their own plane. But the stats, so I don't know what the stats are. I don't know if the stats in the deities and demigods are prime material plane stats or are they stats on your plane? And if they're, how do you adjust and which way do you adjust? And that's kind of always bothers me. I know you say, well, that's ridiculous because now you're talking about fighting deities and you're getting out of hand. But I mean, I still think if you give stats, I'd at least like to know. But at least we get those for Lolth.
Right.
We get the
Well,
differences.
and again, that's why I like D3 better than Q1. So D3 is Vault of the Drow. It's the last before the party tries to finish Lolth. Again, spoiler alert. You start with Against the Giants, and then you go into the D series. The G series goes into the D series, which then ends in the Q series. And it's really one of the first campaign 7 modules that are basically strung together that have this end arc that ends in the abyss. And so probably, Lolth has probably been the most killed deity of all of them. Because she's in this adventure, which is, so the final battle is Queen of the Demon Web Pits, where you have to face her in her own plane in the 66 layer, which of course is where we're at. So here, this is kind of, and the somewhat controversial Demon Web. Here's the illustration that you would see when you would play it. So, and as people are saying in the chat, yes, in Q1, they actually gave optional stats for her and suggested spells and other things that you could use.
Oh, and I think I've been reading this again, and the parentheses is when she's in human and drow elf form.
Right.
So I guess it's not based upon where she's located. It's she can take the form of an exquisitely beautiful female dark elf, the statistics for which are given in parentheses. So that's when she's just in her elf form. So okay. So there so she can take the form of a drow. So that is now it sort of makes sense why they would worship her. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there is backstory somewhere. So she's spider, but she's also a drow elf. Okay. Well, she's very cool, isn't she? I think she's very cool.
Yes, and so it's not really the stats are different. It's just they provide suggested spells. She's considered a 16th level cleric, a 14th level magic user. It also has optional abilities. And it says, as a lesser goddess, Lolth has certain abilities common to all divine beings. This is at the last page of the module in Q1. And DM may choose to use these in the module, since a properly played Lolth will easily destroy most invaders. However, the DM may choose not to use these in this module, since a properly played Lolth will easily destroy most invaders. However, should these abilities be desired or needed for confrontation with the higher level party, the DM may include them in Lolth's abilities. Note that if these optional abilities are used, changes to Lolth's spell selection should be made. And it talks about, it actually gives her stats. Because there's no stats I don't believe, in deities and demigods. strength, intelligence, that kind of thing.
Oh, let me.
But maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it
She's got
is.
Adidas,
Okay.
so yeah.
What about? Oh, then it may not be in the Fiend Folio.
Oh, yes. No, it's not in the Fiend Folio, which is interesting, which came after. No, because it's... Which I guess is true. You don't get so, like, Asmodeus. You don't get... Like, if you're a Monster Manual entry, you don't get those stats, right?
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, so if you're a demon... Well, that's a devil. But so the demons... Yeah, even like Demogorgon. Demogorgon isn't in the Deities and Demigods, is he?
Just a reference to, not the actual thing of it.
Yeah, or Orcus. So we don't have. Yeah, that's interesting. So Lolth gets some special, I guess, because it's the Drow Elf.
Yeah.
Right?
And folks are saying that she was part of the elf pantheon, but wanted to do things in evil ways, and that's why she was kicked out.
Oh, interesting. I wonder when the spider business started. Oh, okay. So she was... Okay. So the origin story.
Right.
Okay.
So D3 is very good. It's very powerful, and again, during that, as you're, finishing off, you've invaded. You've hopefully set alliance with some of the Drow families to pit yourself against the other Drow families, and again, if you get to the Great Fane, there is a chance for you to bring in Lolth, which is pretty awesome.
To rein in Lolth?
To bring her in, to actually have her come to the place.
Okay.
Because this is how you go from D3 to Q1. It's room 14 or item 14. There's either side. There's a mural. This mural has web stitches into space. The opening passageway to the galaxy. Any individual bold enough to walk through the projection of Lolth at 11 and then touch the mural, he will be instantly drawn to the tunnel vortex and brought to the plane of abyss where Lolth actually dwells.
That's where we are.
Right. If you plan to continue the campaign, you can use Q1. Or such individuals can be considered slain.
My guess is depends on how the group's working out. If everyone wants to keep playing, I assume it's Q1.
Right.
And that was a big deal, right? To have a module where you're now fighting a lesser goddess and slaying a lesser goddess. That's a pretty big deal.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's why I think it's controversial, because the fact that these 10th to 14th level characters have a chance to slay a lesser goddess who is pretty amazing. And it perpetuates the idea, well, if we can kill lesser goddesses, why don't we just clean out the whole pantheon of deities and just, like it's the old, if it's got stats, go kill it.
We'll clean out the whole Deities and Demigods book.
Right, just because eventually that's all you can do. So
Norse, Mythos, gone.
Gone. Thor dead. Thor killed with a push spell, the old
Egyptian,
classic.
gone.
That's right, we're just wiping them all out.
One pantheon at a time.
That's right, just crossing them off. Eventually you'd think the deities would wake up, the ones that are left.
Join together?
Yeah, and go, those 16th level fighters, they're really tough. So to me, that's...
Maybe they do that. Maybe there is a pact.
Right.
Like, a mutual, aggression pact. So, hey, they killed Lolth. Well, we got to go after these guys. Even the lawful good ones. Yeah, we can't have this. Who do these mortals think they are? Right. Okay.
And I'm sure it could work out, but to me, that's what makes it so ridiculous, from my perspective.
Okay.
And that's why I liked D3. You still got a chance to deal with with her. You defeat the Drow if you're successful. That's a good wrap up. But to then take it to the the plane and go fight them just seems silly.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. But, so Lolth lives to us.
Yes, Lolth is alive. We have not
alive and well.
Right. And what's interesting is it does, and the other controversy of this is because, we've talked about high level play being challenging. is in order to make an adventure, you have to nerf so many spells so that the party doesn't go, oh, I just wizard eye or use my crystal ball to find where Lolth is, and I teleport the party in there and we fight it, right? Because the idea is you're going to travel through the plane. So the first 4, 5, 6 pages of this talk about the spell alterations that you have.
Well, I think, and that's very interesting. I thought that was kind of useful, though, because this gives you at least some sort of guidance for players who are going to go to other planes. It at least gives you some guidance on how to modify spell. I mean, you say it nerfs it, and, I'm sure you're right, but it sort of makes sense, too, though, don't you think? I mean, number one, I like the fact, so clerical spells, you're in big trouble, right? Because your clerical spells you're getting from your deity, and you're not going to be able to get, right, that call is not going to make it out of there. You do not have your cell phone tower down in there, do you, right, to your deity? So that's right off the bat, right? If you're a cleric, you're only, right, I mean, at a certain point, higher level spells that you have to get from your deity, you're not getting them, correct?
Right. There's
That
all
makes
kinds
sense
of
to me.
problems once you get there.
I like that, though. You're kind of like I said, like without a cell tower. So, right?
Right.
You're in a different place now, and I kind of liked that. I mean, it made sense to me, and, that you just don't go and have everything the same. But again, which is why I have a problem with no different stat. I mean, so that's low stats. So these low stats, whether she's on the prime material plane or in the abyss, are the same. I mean,
Yeah.
unless she's in drow form, they're the same.
Yes. Because one's the avatar and one's that. But when she's in the abyss, she has instant command of all these other creatures.
Yeah. She's got what is it? She's got they're not dryads. They're the ones in the trees.
Yeah. They have all the spider, the pedipaps and all these other weird things.
Yeah.
The solifugids and the scorpions and the pedipaps and the driders and demons and the yokelals, handmaidens of Lolth, all kinds of things they have there.
Okay.
So again, it's cool because you're on this abyss and it's otherworldly and that's interesting, but it does demonstrate one of the challenges that you're going to have if you play a otherworldly thing, because you have to think of every spell, every magic item they have, and consider how it's affected there, and it's a lot of work. And the players are going to feel maybe that you're basically just trying to nerf them so that they can't do their cool things. So
Yeah. So, yes, maybe just simply don't go to the abyss.
right.
Okay.
And so then, again, but it is interesting. Like I said, they do try to make it feel like there's different layers, and that's what this multiple colored map kind of shows you. And then the part that really goes off the rails, more spoiler alert, is that her command ship, where she actually lives, it's an actual kind of steampunk metallic spider ship that she lives in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's this futuristic kind of spaceship that she lives in, and she uses this to attack all the worlds on the prime material plane. That's what the whole premise of this thing is that the giants are being acted up, and then the drow are causing the shenanigans, and that Lolth is going to attack Greyhawk, the whole take over Earth.
So she's all like in like this chamber with like all these levers and
Basically.
like the screens, and like so the hill giant comes on the screen, and he's like, we're under attack.
That's right.
The party of adventurers have overrun the kitchen area. Is that and she's
she doesn't talk. I mean, there's a priestess of which is actually against her. Well, she thinks, again, not to go through the whole story, but some of the drow have decided to put their lot with an elder elemental deity, like an old, almost like a Call of Cthulhu deity, this old one that's been dead for a while, and try to bring it back. And that causes dissension in the Drow ranks. But really, Lolth knows all about this because her plan is always to use this as an opportunity to take over Orth, which is where Greyhawk is.
So you could do like an entire campaign down, like you're Drow, and you maybe like following this elemental. You could do like a whole Drow campaign down there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the city the Drow city, which is in D3, you could have that could be the Underdark is.
I get to be a Snurfeblin.
You could be.
Right.
And killed horribly. Yeah, you could. How they survive? Down there. Yes, they're down there.
So you could have a whole campaign just in the down there in the Underdark.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a Snurfeblin. I'm a Drow. I'm a giant spider.
And to me, that's great. That's where it should have ended. Or you go to the Demon Web Pit and you try to, it's not, you're not going after Lolth directly. It's maybe one of her handmaidens that's trying to take over the world that you have. And you defeat it and kill it forever. That makes more sense. You're not changing the lore of the whole thing. But again, maybe, that's me talking. I didn't like it then. I still don't like it. But there are a lot of people who, they blew up Greyhawk years later and it's been changed and people are fine with it. So who am I to say?
You can I guess people probably done dystopian things where she wins.
Right.
Right? And so it's all Drow based. It's kind of like,
yeah, she
Planet
takes
of the
over
Apes kind of thing.
enslaves the planet and to her will. That's right.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Oh, maybe we could, if we do virtual GaryCon, maybe we could do like a dystopian Greyhawk adventure where Lolth is taken over.
Yeah, and your renegade gnomes and elves who are being hunted down.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like just giant spiders are walking down the street. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretending I'm a Snurfeblin.
That's right. Yeah, you have to.
That's right.
Yeah, it's some kind of occupied city by the mechanized spider army. Yeah.
It's all right.
I like it. That's super cool.
Well,
I'll let you work on that.
Yeah, that's all right. So this is our homage to Lolth on episode 66. So.
Well, and that's why I don't want her dead, which is why I don't.
Oh, she's not dead, my friend.
Right.
Don't believe it. We're in the darkest timeline where she wins.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, I'm in front of a Lolth. Can I do a reaction roll? Because I'd like to ask to leave the abyss. I'm sick of being here. I want out. Can I roll for reaction?
Are you a human?
I'm a gnome.
Oh, you're a gnome.
Mm-hmm.
Did we look up the reactions of gnomes versus dark elves? We have to look in the book that shall not be named.
Oh my gosh, that's right. It's like it's this enormous chart, isn't it? That's when you knew there was a problem with UA. When the chart is enormous. When I grew up, buddy, our chart was like
2 columns.
Yes,
it wasn't a huge.
I could read on my hand, right? And a half orc, and everyone's animosity with that. That's it. It's easy. So, oh my gosh.
So now I have to go in the book that shall not be named.
I don't even have it with me.
I know. That's why I'll look it up for you.
Yeah.
The book that shall not be named. Find this place. Oh, here it is. Page 12 of the book that shall not be named.
Gnomes and dark elves. That's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be hatred. It's hatred. Is it like H is down the line for
dark
for
elf
gnomes?
Against
Gnome.
Drugar. Nope.
Oh God! See now, this is horrible. There's like 8 different types of gnomes.
I gotta figure out.
When I grew up, a gnome was a gnome.
Right, gnome.
Just gnome.
Are you a normal gnome?
Oh God.
Or a Snurfeblin?
No, I'm a normal gnome.
I guess GD means you're normal. Because GS, I assume, is gnome Snurf. Deep, norm Snurf.
Deep? No, wait, is that deep? Oh, see.
I'm going with deep gnomes or Snurfeblin.
It's hatred, whatever it is.
It's hatred, yes. One is hatred, one is antipathy. So I'm saying it's hatred.
Okay, I'm rolling for reaction.
Okay. Yeah.
High's good, isn't it?
High's good, but you're already at minus something, so.
I know I am. 53.
That's pretty bad.
So basically, she eats me.
Oh, you want to roll initiative?
No, we don't have time. It's 4:55.
Oh, here
so
you
we're
go.
Not getting out of the abyss. That didn't go well. All right.
What'd you roll? 50?
53.
Normally that would be uncertain, neutral, and
Yes.
interested. So I would at least say minus 25, right?
Sure, I think so. Probably with hatred.
Yeah, so that's a 30.
Well, and
Uncertain, but 55 towards negative. So you can roll 55 towards negative.
oh, 21. Negative.
Negative. She's negative.
Can I
towards
leave?
it.
Negative. Okay.
What's that pit? Wait a minute. When you see the picture that's on your shirt, and they say next to you.
Yeah, that's me. That's 5 minutes later. All right. And on that note, all hail.
That's
all
right.
hail Lord Lolth.
Lord Lolth, Lady Lolth.
Lady Lolth. All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take an intermission, and we're going to get Erol on and get him set up, and hopefully everything will work for the rest of the day. Cause
everything's currently working, right?
Yes, everything's currently working.
Cool. All right. Let's take a break. I will be right back.
All right.
I'm going to take my break. All right.
All right, we will do that. Hey, Craig's on too. So, all right, let me put on the commercials, and we'll be back with Erol Otus.
And now, before the next show starts, let's enjoy an intermission. You'll find our snack bar chock full of good things to eat and drink. Tasty, tempting hot dogs, thirst-quenching soft drinks, fresh, crunchy popcorn, a complete assortment of delicious candy, and a full line of cigarettes. You've plenty of time, so visit the snack bar now. A tasty treat will double your enjoyment of the show.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Your dungeon master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position. You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created. Your skin grows cold from your first glimpse of the enormous beast. It's a product of your imagination. Survival depends on a quick, decisive move. Your choices are limited. Stand and fight, or run. Use your lightning bolt. Victory is yours.
Win the treasure.
TSR Hobbies, Dungeons & Dragons games. Products of your imagination.
Challenge your imagination to come alive and to battle with the creatures of Dungeons and Dragons. Grapple against the forces of evil as a Marvel Comics superhero. Hunt adventure and glory as Indiana Jones. The all-new role-playing games of TSR and Dungeons and Dragons. Unleash the power of your imagination.
Open the world of advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures. Strongheart, Bronze Dragon, Morduk, Nightmare. Discover a world of mystery and magic.
Stand back, Strongheart. You shall never have this treasure.
Evil is no match for good until we meet again.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures from LJN. Pure magic.
In the eerie world of deep, dark dungeons, mystery and magic seem real. There's good against evil with advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures. War Duke, Kellic, Strongheart, and Bronze Dragon, each sold separately.
Beware, Strongheart. We will cast an evil spell and steal the treasure. Fool! Evil is no match for good. The treasure is safe.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures, Kellic, War Duke, Bronze Dragon, Strongheart, each sold separately from LJN.
Now, Bobby! Let's go! Wow!
Thanks, Bobby! No sweat, Diana.
Your time has run out.
Ah!
on! We've got to find Dungeon Master!
Give me your weapons!
All right! Quickly now! Bugles! Hurry!
You cannot escape! This game is ended.
Abra, come here!
I'm dreaming. Don't wake me up. I can't look. Sure you can.
We did it! We're home!
Home sweet
Hey, and we are back. And so, Dan, we have a new little figure on our screen. Why don't you introduce our special guest?
Absolutely. So, in Dragon Magazine, I'm going to start with a little bit of history, not much, but in Dragon Magazine, in May of 1980, Gary Gygax wrote, "Deities and Demigods is slated for release in August. Your dealer should have it sometime around the 15th of the month, and TSR will have it as a premiere release at Gen Con." So in honor of the release of Deities and Demigods, perhaps 40 years ago to the day, along with its iconic cover art, it's our pleasure to welcome to the show the acclaimed fantasy artist, Erol Otus. Erol, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes. So, so how does that mean 40 years ago to the day for that? So have you thought at all about that this month, that it was 40 years ago to the day that that iconic cover came out?
No, but I do think about, in a more general sense, how 40 years and more have passed since I was working at TSR. It's quite a long time ago.
It was, and what I thought was interesting was, I learned a lot about you in prepping for this, is that you were so prolific, but you only worked at TSR for 2 years, right?
79, 80, and 81, but yeah, less than 3 years.
Less than three.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it just seemed, knowing how much work you did for them, it seems like it would have spanned many, many years, as opposed to 79 to 81. But I wanted to ask you, so I was looking at Art and Arcana last night, and what it says about you, it says that you're D&D's surrealist. And so I did some research and learned that surrealism is a type of artwork.
Yes.
What was your thought when you were described? There it is. James is holding it up. When you were described as a surrealist, do you agree with that?
I thought it was cool, but I was perhaps in context of D&D artists, I could be described that way. But surrealism is kind of more than I was. Well, Dolly and whatnot. In some ways, I guess I'm a cross between a normal fantasy artist and something else.
Yeah, because it wasn't like you weren't doing strange. I mean, you were doing strange shapes, and it's sort of hard to describe your work, I think, in many respects. But it wasn't like you were doing anything terribly abstract. It was just right. It was you were painting a dragon. It's not like the dragon had a different head on it. You could tell it was a dragon, but it was obviously different from what the other artists were doing at the time. So I read an interview with you, and you said 3 things that come to your mind when you're planning and executing art, and I'd love the opportunity to follow up with you on those. You said the first thing is that the rules the piece itself brings into being are followed. So you wanted the rules the piece itself brings into being are followed. What did you mean when you said? I thought it was very interesting. I was hoping you'd be able to expand a bit on that.
Well, when you're making a painting and you use certain textures, certain colors, certain rhythms, it kind of brings into being its own need to carry that, I don't know, structure is not the right word. You know, in nature, when you see trees or blood vessels or whatever, you know, it's I believe it's related to fractals. You know, there's a certain rhythm to it, and you'd know if it was wrong when you were looking at it. So there's things that happen that aren't necessarily about the composition or the content. That's another level of rules that happen, and those aren't necessarily planned. They kind of grow based on, you know, the technique and maybe the size of things. I don't know. It's a thing that I don't know. It's a little hard to describe, but I just tried.
Well, and I also, your second thing you said was you try to entertain yourself. And so tell me, so what is the joy for you of making a piece of fantasy art? What is it that entertains you when you do it?
Well, I mean, there's a huge number of things. That's what's so great about it. I mean, I think one thing is making D&D art for me. One of the entertaining things is showing kind of what is the gameplay in a sense. And I know there's many different kinds of gameplay, but one that wasn't necessarily present in fantasy artwork that isn't related to a game is combat and the results of combat and the process of combat. In other words, death and injury. A lot of fantasy artwork, and it's fine, but a lot of it is sort of like something is about to happen, but it hasn't really happened yet. You know, the two foes have met, but they haven't engaged. And D&D is all about that engagement. When it comes down to combat, it could be long, and it may not always go the way of the adventurers, and so there's a danger there. And that process is entertaining to me. Also, there's a lot of humor in D&D that goes side by side with the horror, and that combination is fun and entertaining to me. And I mean, I could go on and on. Making things that have never been like original creatures, that is really entertaining to me.
That was your third, right? At least try to make something that would never otherwise have been made. So I don't know if that would fall within what you just said with the new creatures.
Well, that is not. Yeah, the new creatures is kind of an easy way to do it, in a sense. You know, yeah, it's something that it's really hard to do. Making something that could never have otherwise been made.
Yeah, and if I could go, I'll go back to the combat, because you're talking about your combat, and you know, I was watching the documentary Eye of the Beholder, and a lot of the artists were saying how they like to do things right before the action happens. And you seemed so many, it seems to me, of your iconic drawings are of combat. And you know, how much of being a role player was important in drawing the scenes that you were drawing? Because I will tell you, what I love about your combat scenes is I want my combat to be that. When I play D&D, when I see an Erol Otus combat scene, I want all my combat to be that. How much of your playing translated into the combat scenes that you drew?
How much of it? All of it. All of it. Yeah, we were big D&D. Well, you know, we had several groups, but I was just in love with D&D. It was like it saved my life, one might say. So, you know, I had been not necessarily, when I was DMing, I would draw magic items and monsters to show my players, to give them. But I hadn't actually done a lot of combat scenes before TSR. But once there, it was a great opportunity. I really felt like that was something that was, I don't know, not necessarily missing, but not focused on enough. Yeah.
And I'd like to ask you a little bit about you before arriving at TSR, because you grew up in the Bay Area, right? You grew up in the San Francisco area, correct?
Yeah, in Berkeley. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I noticed that one of the early works that you did was for the Arduin Grimoire.
Mm-hmm.
And so did you get it? And I did a little bit of research on that, and it was very different, it seems to me, than the way a lot of people were doing fantasy campaigns. And I read up that Gary apparently was unhappy that it was a competitor, and we've even got, I think, a magic item that pokes fun at. Were you playing in David Hargrave's group? I mean, how did you get involved with that?
Yeah, I and some other friends of mine, we joined up with Dave's group. I mean, we had several groups going on at the same time, but yeah, his games, I really liked them. They're very, he took it really seriously, his mythos and everything, and it made it feel really, not important. Well, it was cool. It was a totally different flavor, Actually, that was where I first encountered, I'm pretty sure, Undead Dragons was in his campaign. And then I added an Undead Dragon as a nod to him in the White Plume Mountain map. The Undead Dragons had not yet been in D&D, and I guess at some point later they found their way in there. But yeah, Hargrave. I think I met one of his players at another game, and then I can't actually remember whether I met him at that game or whether his player invited me to come down.
Okay.
But yeah. So then we hung out and played D&D, and he might have seen some of the artwork I had given other players as magic items, or maybe something on my character sheets. I don't remember actually approaching him or soliciting him or even being aware he was going to make a book. But I did end up, I think he might have asked me to do it.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, since it was such a different flavor, your artwork is so well known for being different, and I was just wondering if you felt that the gameplay style that you were involved in California before you went to TSR in any way sort of influenced the way you viewed gaming, and then that translated to your artwork.
I don't think so. I mean, well, at least, not consciously. I felt like we were playing D&D most of the time, straight up.
Okay. And you said you felt it saved your life, so it.
Oh, that's an overstatement. But yeah, I grew up in Berkeley. I went to high school in Berkeley. Then I started going to Cal, and I knew I wanted to be an artist, but how to do that, how to make a living as an artist, impossible, So my parents were, wanting me to do something. They're saying, maybe architecture. So at Cal, I was studying environmental design, and it was dawning on me that I wasn't going to be able to do. I wasn't going to be able to do this. This was killing me, So when I got a call from Dave Sutherland, that was like a dream come true.
So you had started at Cal before, because
Mm-hmm.
I know you come back. Okay, so you were right. Well, you obviously still did well in school, unlike many of us who got addicted to D&D. If you got into Cal while playing D&D, that's pretty impressive.
It was a lot easier back then. Seriously.
Well, probably.
Also, as I recall, it still might be true. If you lived in Berkeley, I think that was another. I think back then it seemed like it was another plus.
Is that right?
To get in, I don't remember.
I would have thought it'd been a negative. Is that everyone?
Now maybe it is.
Yeah. Before that call comes, because you appear Dragon Magazine #2, right? August 1976, the Remoras.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are you the creator? I mean, I noticed it's your artwork in there. Did you submit? Are you the creator of if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Remoras?
Oh no, no, that one I submitted just as an illustration.
Okay.
And unsolicited illustrations I was sending in to the Dragon, and later I did do the Onkeg. I did, design that and illustrate it. But no, the Remoraz I just sent in there, and yeah, I don't even remember if they even let me know that they were using it. I don't think so until after the fact. So I was a subscriber, and I think that I just opened it and saw it there. I was blown away.
So you were a subscriber right from the beginning. I mean, right?
Yeah, we were. I don't think I was subscribing to the Strategic Review, but we were buying it. We were buying the Strategic Review, which is the precursor to the Dragon, and I think I saw an advertisement in one of the last issues of the Strategic Review that the Dragon was going to be coming out, and I think I might have mentioned that it was going to be a full color production as opposed to the Strategic Review.
Yeah.
And I think that prompted me to send color illustrations, and I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
You know, memory is tricky. I think 70% of your memories are either false or heavily modified.
You can just
here we
make
go.
it up. That would be great. In fact,
yeah, I think I'll start doing that.
And I'm surprised we haven't asked
See if you can catch me. Yeah,
density
okay.
of the pigment that you used in the drawing of the Ankhead. You know how much mixture of the paint that you put in there. That'll be the type of detail we're going to ask you, Errol. So don't be afraid. So just make it up. Just kind of come up with it. It's all good.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit? I see Fantasy Art Enterprises, right? Because these things. I don't know if do you ever go onto eBay to check out how much your stuff is being sold for?
Not recently. I think I might have checked now and then.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey. But so you did, right? The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon, I think.
Necronomicon. Sorry, I knew I was. Okay. But I know it's not okay because I've been practicing like 50 times right before this. And Booty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm. Beast.
So can you tell? Beast.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about those two?
Well, those were we had a little company called Fantasy Art Enterprises, which was manned by Paul Ritchie, Matthias Genser, and myself. We were, the core of one of the gaming groups, and we made up a lot of stuff. And this was probably. Partially inspired by Dave Hargrave's publishing. It was like, hey, we could do something like this. And so we made a book of spells, and then a book of monsters and treasure, and then some other playing aids, the geomorphs and magic item cards.
Yeah. Please tell me you still have copies.
Yeah, I have a few copies. And I think there's a cache of them somewhere. But I think so.
Not a Lake Geneva landfill.
No. This was nothing. Yeah, had nothing to do with TSR. So yeah,
I'm sorry. It's a B3 joke. Right?
Yeah, there might be a few, like a box of them somewhere. Maybe not.
Okay, the search is on.
Yeah, no. It's possible.
Oh, right. So you said you get a phone call. You entered a contest, right, to draw a creature from Fafhrd and Greymouser.
The art contest?
Exactly, right?
That's true. That's true. But I had been sending in, I think a lot of the stuff was before that. I mean, a lot of the things I sent in, right? The Remoraz and...
Yes, indeed. Because, so you'd had the Remoraz and the Ankhead before, and then in Dragon 13, August 78, we've got so yeah, once again breaking out is this often happens in my interview. This is your life. So in August 78, there's a contest to draw the monster from a Fafhrd and Greymouser story. And what's interesting about it is you get an honorable mention, but it's not until April 1979, a year later, that the winners are announced. So a year later, and tell us about the phone call then you get, because I assumed it was maybe based upon the honorable mention, but you had other stuff published too. What? Tell me about the phone call.
Oh, well, so Dave Sutherland called me up and he said, we're looking for an artist to work for us, and I think I'm pretty sure what happened is Trampier had recently quit. And I guess I was known to some people over there because the things that I had been sending in and that were published in the Dragon. So he thought of me. The other thing, and I'm not really sure about this because I never asked him, but I think he might have thought that I was closer to Lake Geneva than I actually was, because at the time, the area code for Berkeley was 415. I know area codes had nothing to do with this, so I'm casting doubt on Dave's knowledge of area codes, but it was 414, I believe, in Lake Geneva. And when I told, we talked for a while, I was like, yeah, I would love to come. He said, why don't you come for an interview? And when I told him where I was, he was surprised. But anyway, then they had, they were very cool. They flew me out there and I interviewed and I walked around the place. It was like, I was really blown away. They had the dungeon hobby shop downstairs, and it was really cool. And meeting everybody, everyone was so nice. Dave Sutherland was a really good guy. Really good guy.
And did you get a chance to meet Gary on that trip?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I met a lot of people though.
And how did they get a hold of you? I mean, I guess they had you send in stuff. So they have your phone number on something you'd sent in.
I think so. I think because they had been sending me. They actually paid me for the things they published. So I think they had my information.
And when did you get offered the job after you left? So you're being interviewed, so you're not yet hired. Do you get hired there, or do you get back and you have no idea and you're nervous and I got to keep studying, but I don't want to study because I made up a job?
You know what? I think I don't remember. I think it was sealed on that trip, but I don't remember exactly because I don't remember any, coming back and having any anxiety or anything like that.
Did you know when you went out there, were you basically already, if they offer me the job, I'm taking it?
Yeah, there was I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so, no doubt.
It didn't matter, like money?
No, they didn't.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, money.
Clearly.
I would have taken anything they offered me, and I think that's what I did.
As with many others, as I understand. So how quick did you leave mid-semester then from Berkeley?
I think it was the end. I think it was the end of the year. Like when does I don't know. I think it was like September or something, right? Isn't that when college is over? I think I finished the year.
Yeah, usually starting in September. So maybe it's getting ready to start.
Oh yeah, right. Summer in school. Yeah. So I think I left. Yeah, the end of summer.
Okay.
Yeah, before starting again a new year. Yeah.
Okay, and so tell us. So when you arrive, who's in the art department when you get there?
Dave Sutherland and myself.
Okay, that was it.
Jeff wasn't there, or any of the other ones? No. Okay.
Nope. We were on the top floor at that time. Later, when the art department added a couple of people, we moved to the second floor. If the first floor was the hobby shop, yeah. So there was just two little rooms there, and Dave was in one and I was in another.
Okay, well, so if you're going to bring up floors, we got to ask you about this apparent incident where people say you fell through the floor, and we've heard different versions of how much of you extended down into the next floor. Is there any truth that we've been told that there was this mysterious? This is the story I think we got. There's this mysterious third floor that nobody went to, but apparently Erol Otus decided to poke around up there, and he ended up falling through the floor. Just say it's true, please. Don't bring us down.
Oh yeah, I mean that happened. That absolutely happened.
Well, all right. Well, explain it to us like it's one of your drawings. So what happened?
Well, yeah. The thing is, I'm not sure if it was, if it was a full-on floor. I guess you would call it the fourth floor. If it was a full-on floor.
I think that's what Tim. Was it Tim? I think Tim or Jim Ward was telling us that, right? I think it was fourth floor. He said, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because the first floor was, they had a basement, which was really good for gaming, and then the hobby shop. And then when we would say the second floor, which was eventually ended up being, like a lot of it was art department. And after the art department moved from the second to the third floor, the top floor was all design and editing. And then I don't know if there was a full-on fourth floor. I mean, I went up there, and I don't remember if there was, rooms and things. There was access to the ceilings of the third floor, so you could walk across beams. And I just fell through, I guess, whatever it was, the particle board there. I mean, it might have been just that I was exploring,
That's the way what we were led to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I might have just been messing around, but I'd like to think that we had a really, really competitive diplomacy game at one point, maybe a couple of sessions of that. It was really intense, and maybe I was trying to spy on somebody. That's what
was that. So did your foot go through, your leg, half your body? Because we heard two different versions of it.
Oh, I think, as I remember, I fell and caught myself like on my armpits on the, what do they call those, joists or whatever. Yeah, it hurt, but I was not injured really. So I guess most, and I actually can't remember if I came back up or if somebody held me down. I don't really remember that.
Was that your funniest moment at TSR? Or did you have one of our questions? I'm reading the chat right now. Lots of great questions. One of them was funniest moment you had at TSR when you were there. Was that your funniest moment or another one?
Funniest? I can't think of anything. Maybe something will come to me. I mean, I don't know how funny this was, but
yeah, he didn't find it funny at all. That's not
I didn't think that was funny.
Well, it's funny now. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it?
I think it is. It's legendary. People they're talking about their time at TSR and they stop and go, yeah. And then there was a time two people say it. So I mean, it's legendary.
The guy does amazing artwork, and then all they talk about is he falls to the floor. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, so something comes up, just think about it, but that was one of the questions. Hey, so Dan, let me go through some of these questions because they're flying through here.
Sure, please.
So Carlos asks, the last entry in the Rogues Gallery is a character named Valeris. It's mentioned that Valeris, excuse me. And could you ask which game did he play? Did Valeris play in?
Which games? Well, I mean, he was one of my characters. I don't know what that means. Which games?
Well,
we had some adventures with him, and I ran him as a character.
But
were you playing in it? Were you playing in Gary's game when you were at? No.
No. I think the only time I really played with Gary was in. I was running a game for him in the. There was a dungeon master contest, and we were allowed to enter, so I entered into that, and that was a lot of fun. He was a player, and Brian Bloom, and I'm not sure if I had 4 players: Jim Warden and Will Niebling, I think.
Is this? I may have information on it. Is this because I have here that you were the runner-up in TSR's 4th Invitational AD&D Masters Tournament at Gen Con 13? I
don't remember what place I was. Somewhere honorable mention or something. That was a lot of fun. Those guys were they were taking it seriously. Gary and Brian especially was really trying to throw the DM. And I think he got me on something. I think Gary really mentioned to me that he really thought it was a very original dungeon, but that I lost because Brian Bloom's character threw pepper at one of my monsters, and I didn't handle it the way the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Masters guy. Yeah. So I lost on technical. I mean, valid, I guess. I never actually looked it up.
I don't remember pepper grenade throws.
I got some rules.
We got a copy right here, shall we?
That's right.
You remember what the
pepper missile?
I mean, as I recall, he threw pepper, and I didn't handle it right.
So let me just get this straight. You were DMing Gary, and they're judging you.
Mm-hmm.
Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. I was a really icy DM. DMing was my thing. I loved it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. where you so, and you've DM'd. How much did you DM then? Because I know you've DM'd at North Texas as well, and I don't know. People, of course, think of you as a great fantasy artist, but read a write up of your DMing at North Texas, and you just the blogger was blown away about your. He described it as basically going through your artwork, so to speak. Like, imagine Erol Otus's artwork. That's the way his games
Wow.
are. So, yeah, wouldn't that be? I mean, to me, that would be amazing. So, how often were you DMing when you were in Lake Geneva?
In Lake Geneva, not that much, really. It was mostly. I was one of the main DMs for our groups. And I guess we started at late junior high. I'm really not sure, in high school. Yeah.
Why did I research? So, these ideas that you have for your drawings, which are so incredible, and I was reading about Island Town, right, which you had run.
Right, that's the game that I ran. I think you're referring to that. Yeah, the first couple of adventures of that were, some of it was kind of unorthodox in terms of what kind of gameplay. Like, there wasn't a lot of combat. You were trying to you were kind of conducting a very important harvest, critical to the survival of your tiny, isolated community, and it required a lot of strange physical activities that weren't combat, and it was a lot of fun. I'd like to think that it had some Vancian flavor to it, weird customs and things, and that game, the players were digging it.
It sounded great. What is the status? I mean, is that available? I Googled it, and I think North Texas issued a copy, if I recall correctly, but it doesn't look like it's easily available, which is a shame if it's not, because it sounded very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not right now. I mean, I should do something with that at some point. But yeah, I put together the adventure in kind of a module format. I gave some copies out to the players, and it was just a lot of fun to do. And also to help the con, they take those and then they do a limited edition digest version, which is a small version. But yeah, I think it would be good to publish that, spruce it up and publish it at some point.
Oh, that'd be super cool.
Yeah, James, more on the chat, because I sort of hijacked.
Yeah, that's okay. I told them there's 2,700 more questions to go, and their questions would be able to get out there. They were okay with it. So let me back up here. Okay, so we have. So we mentioned about the Valerius, yep, and was Thing Izzards your invention, or was it something they asked for in White Plume Mountain?
Say that again.
The White Plume Mountain map, and we kind of little talk. Was Thing Izzards your invention or someone else's?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, some of that stuff I just put in there, but I don't remember. I know the Undead Dragon and some other things, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask about the DMG, because you arrive in late '79, correct, to TSR. '79 is a DMG.
September, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I only noticed I could only find one. I was surprised that you had anything in here, because it sounds like you're just arriving, and I know there is one. It's the on spell casting. You've got it's a great little picture, right? You've got the.
Yeah, I've seen some people wearing a T-shirt of that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So what happened? So did you just get in there and there's just time for you to do one drawing, or what?
So I believe that it was added in a second printing.
Oh, that would make sense.
I believe that's the case. So there are some without it,
and
some with it. I think that is the case. I think Dave was interested in having me get something in there when the opportunity came up.
Okay. And James, let me know when you've got a question. Otherwise, I'll keep rattling them off.
One of them, is going to be related to the Silver Princess, since you were going to talk about that as well. Dave says he loves the art of the Silver Princess. He's read both versions. Do you have a preference of which one? You know, there's some interesting discussion about the Silver Princess, B3.
Do I have a preference
Which
about
version? Yeah, because they're so radically different.
You mean I guess of the adventure
Yeah.
itself? Did your artwork did you had artwork in the second one too? I mean, obviously you have it.
I don't really remember how much they took out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of it is in the second version.
Okay.
You know, I'm not
But so did you
familiar. But I far prefer the one with the more interesting illustrations.
Yeah, I'm going to show the classic one.
Yeah, so there's a famous So there's what I love about the B3 story is that there's so many stories to it as to why different people. I did. There's actually a blog entry where they did interviews of people as to what the problem was with B3, and of course one of the versions is that there was objection from, I guess, management to one of your drawings, right? So Gene Wells creates a monster, and you are tasked, right, to draw the monster, and you make them these three-headed monsters, and the story is that these are the faces are of people at TSR, and they didn't like that. So I guess the question is true, and are you willing to name names, identify who it is? You gotta take your shot. This is my only shot ever. Right.
So I believe that that part is true, and also there were some other illustrations in there that they something that was so incredibly tame, but that they were worried that was S&M, you know, the woman hanging, and I can see. I mean, when I look at that, it seems a little overblown to me. Like I look at the Ubus, and I see one face that to me looks like a cross between Gygax and Dave LaForce.
Well, this is your drawing, right?
What?
This is your drawing, right?
Yeah, the Ubus. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, were you, when you said it looks, is that who it is? Is it a cross between?
That's what it looks like to me. I look at it now, and that's the only one that looks remotely like anybody.
He's been well coached by his counsel on how to answer.
Is your attorney off screen?
No, I'm telling you, I don't remember the process. Okay, I'll tell you what I remember about that drawing is that I was really happy. Like I claim, and again, 70% of memories are either just lies, not lies, misrememberings or modified. But I remember asking Jean if the Ubus can be a combination male-female, and I remember being thrilled when she said yes. So I remember being really happy, to be putting male and female together in different combinations, just thinking about what their lives would be like, and so that's the main thing I remember about that illustration. Honestly, I don't remember, maybe the other male head that's across from Gary LaForce has a little bloom to it, but not much. Are you guys looking at the picture at all?
We can. I can.
So there's the taller figure has the head that looks like, to me, a cross between Gary and Dave, and then there's a female, and then the other male head looks a little like a bloom.
You all should be able to see it.
But nobody else in there looks like anybody to me. I think
so it's
a little bit overblown.
So can you see that, Aaron? So it's up on the screen, right? It looks like
I see it. Yeah.
So the left definitely looks like Gary to me, right? I mean, that looks like Gary.
Looks like all 70s people back then with the full beard.
So I get. So is it? So even if it looks like Gary, I guess what you're saying is when you drew this, you are not setting out to draw anybody's picture.
I don't remember.
Okay.
It wasn't an act of defiance or jab at people.
Oh, there was definitely a feeling like, so as I remember, the module was, sent in, and the editors were sort of told hands off, don't mess with this. don't change Gene's stuff, send it through. I don't remember why, but there was definitely a feeling, and we were down with the designers and the editors. We felt like we were a team, and they were kind of pissed off, and so I think we felt like, yeah, okay, let's take this to its ultimate conclusion.
So no, you'd be given a free hand, basically. Like it's not going to be messed with. You can.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you'd be given a bit of a free hand, so if it wasn't going to be altered at all, meaning you didn't have to worry so much about other people coming in and.
Well, we knew that. Well, no, it was a feeling that the designers and editors were kind of getting not allowed to do their job, and so we felt like we were going to
stick it to the man a little bit. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Just kind of thumb their nose at and the fact that this company has this kind of, again from people from the outside thinking about TSR is not that big a company, and it wasn't still, but you had these divisions or this hierarchy that was there that you had to deal with is very interesting, even for such a small company where you said the creative types versus almost creative types versus management is what I'm kind of hearing.
At that time, there was quite a feeling like that. I don't know how it developed, but it definitely felt like that.
And so this was an opportunity just to, like you said, stick it to man, or like I said, stick it to man. That's awesome. That's super cool.
No, James supports you. So now, one of the things that I think you did the Dungeon Master screen, right? Which the first edition Dungeon Master screen, the cover with what is it? It's a fighter with a spear, I think, right, attacking a dragon. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that must have been one of your early assignments, I think, right? Because that the DM screen was, I think, 1979. So was that one of your early assignments?
Yeah, I think some of the earliest ones were there were covers of playing aids, and those were actually pretty cool because they were monochromatic, right? There'd be shades of green, shades of purple, and to accomplish that, of course, now it's nothing, with Photoshop. But back then, you had to do a different black and white illustration for each tone,
wow,
and then align them with these registration marks. It was so labor intensive for such a simple outcome, but it was almost like it was a very unique discipline. Because the other thing is you never knew how it would turn out until it was printed. You'd say, okay, 20% plus, 30%, 40%, the darkness of the color.
And so 1980, of course, is probably a good time for us to bring up, 40 years ago, Deities and Demigods. And this is just, I think when people think of, your iconic pieces, without question, Deities and Demigods is one of them. How did you get tasked with that? Do you remember why it fell upon you to do the cover?
No, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
So so can you tell us about? Do you remember doing it? And would you be given basically a free hand? Like was somebody say, okay, do the cover? Were you told? Was somebody telling you it should be like this, or is it basically do what you want? We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I think it was more like that. It was really a nice open, not heavily art directed environment. And I believe I submitted a rough idea, and they said, "Yeah, go. That's a good idea. Do it."
Did you ever have your stuff turned down by them? Like you do a draft, and they're like, "Yeah, that's that doesn't look like the monster the way I'm thinking of the monster."
No. But I was usually, if it was to be following, a manuscript, I was usually pretty good about paying attention to the details of the creature.
Yeah, And for
Excuse
something,
me.
oh, no worries. And so for something like Deities and Demigods, like how do you, are you, so I read up on this and people were explaining how, well, on the back it shows the power of the deities. You got the poor guy. Is that when you're deciding to design something like this, are you thinking, I want to have a scene that sort of sends this message and this message? Or are you just basically, I'm going to draw what I think would be a cool cover?
Well, message. I'm not sure about that. I mean, we wanted to show gods and, patron deities, interacting on the front, and then the back, I wanted to show some Cthulhu-esque and more occult-leaning content.
Right, and of course, and you famously you did the Cthulhu entries, which we know end up, unfortunately, getting removed, right? But that,
right.
Was that, yeah, so how disappointing was that? Because my understanding...
It was really disappointing, because I love Lovecraft. And it was just totally weird to us. We finished it, it was published, and does it really go that far before... people who are responsible for that sort of thing, figure out they screwed up? It was pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is, I think, Jim's position was that they had a letter, but I couldn't find it. They had approval, but then they couldn't find the letter, and they didn't want to spend the money fighting it.
So yeah, I mean, I think Jim knows better than anyone, but that sounds pretty weak. I mean, there was a letter and they couldn't find it. Is that the story?
If I got it right, I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, I don't remember either.
Bad too, so I don't want to say that's definitely the story. But I know Jim has. I mean, I think, I feel bad for Jim because about once a year he'll post something on Facebook because every time somebody asks about the 144 pager, somebody always mentions, oh yeah, this is the one where they violated the copyright, and Jim, I think, is obviously is hurt by that. And he posts, his statement of what happened. And I can't remember.
I'm sure he knows. I'm sure his version is most accurate. But what we were told at the time was that they didn't have the rights to do it. That was their explanation to us.
Yeah. Are you, so the original artwork for Deities and Demigods, so apparently, right, it is, I mean, last thing I saw, based on my research on the internet, is that it was, I think, what Noble Knight Games, the owner of that, has it hanging.
Yeah.
And he had been, last offering price was $75,000, which he had turned down.
Dude.
Right. So how does, so I guess I'm not sure I have much of a question there other than thoughts.
I wish TSR didn't have a policy of keeping originals.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What happened? Because you didn't get to take any. You didn't take really any of your originals, right?
No. I mean, I've recovered some, but most of them, certainly most of the color work, apparently was thrown away under the watch of some art director, and then much of that was rescued by different people, and they sold it, kept it. Don't really know. What did you
recover? How were you able to recover some of it?
Let's see. I got a couple pieces from Dave LaForce, so I guess recovered some. Sent me a couple, and some other acquisitions here and there.
Okay. Well, I hope you weren't forced to pay exorbitant eBay prices for your own originals.
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay, good. Can you tell us, so along with Deities and Demigods, without question, the work everyone talks about is the cover of the basic set in
yeah.
Could you, and I want to read some of the things that people said online about that cover. So, and this is not online. Art and Arcana wrote, Otus manages to create an atmosphere of adventure-filled claustrophobia by using seemingly shallow pool to produce a large dragon in a modest dungeon space. And a blogger said the following about it. The setting is underground, a dungeon. Apparently our heroes have just descended to a lower level via the stairs in the background, Both magical spells and force of arms are being cooperatively combined to overcome a dragon. Did you catch that? Both a dungeon and a dragon on the cover of Dungeons and Dragons. Am I the only one who thinks game cover art should be that obvious? More adventures undoubtedly lurk in the caves beyond. The reward of success treasure is clearly visible. The sorceress holds a torch. Lighting can be a big issue in the game. So how much of things like that were you thinking about when you did the cover?
Yeah, that cover, I wanted to show, sort of the object, the gameplay, right? Which is a lot of it is getting treasure from defeating monsters. It sounds pretty obvious, I know, but that was the idea.
Yeah. Have you ever been walking in the mall and someone has that shirt? Because the first time I ran a game again about 3 years ago, first edition game, somebody showed up with that shirt. Have you ever seen someone just out and about with that shirt?
With the shirt?
Yeah, with a picture of the basic set cover. Because it's fairly right. I mean, Jay said I'm wrong, but that's right. I mean, we see people periodically right in our games will show up with that shirt. I just thought it'd be funny if you were out at the movies and someone was wearing that shirt, and you're like, hey. Nice shirt.
No, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen it at cons.
Yeah,
but not just not at.
Yeah.
Not just,
Is that the first? I mean, going back to Deities and Demigods, you look at some of the earlier work, and Deities and Demigods has that Erol Otus signature look to it. The color palette and the styling of the figures, and that became. That's what makes your work so recognizable. Definitely in D&D things. Was that the first? How did you get to that style of art? From looking back at some of your previous works where it's not as distinctive. Is that something you worked on? You were inspired by? Maybe you can give us a little bit of how you came to that.
Came to style.
Yeah, because I can show, it's like a lineup. If we had 3 pictures, one of them would be yours from the later, would be like, oh, that's Erol Otus. We wouldn't have to see the initials on it. It has that, it's got a color palette that's unique typically. It's a softness to the images. They're not as, and again, that surrealism, I wouldn't consider it surrealism, but I get the idea. It's otherworldly almost, would like the perspective is interesting, and so again, all these attributes come to, and again, Dan and I are not art people, so again, please apologize if we're not saying it right.
No, it's all right. I'm thinking about it. I'm not really sure about that. I mean, I know when it comes to, I don't know if this really speaks to your question, but when it comes to figures, human figures, I much prefer to see things made up completely by the artist, as opposed to working from, a model or a photograph. I find that much more interesting to see, it completely made up people. Maybe that reflects on, wider on more of the subject matter that I paint. The style, it just happened.
And does the media affect it? So when you're doing color, you get more of, and this is, I don't know if you can see here, this is D3, you get, right. Versus maybe some of your line work, your pencil work or sketch work. It's I don't call it more traditional, but it's sharper and it doesn't have the same, look to it, I guess, as I'm, kind of showing everyone here now. Here's.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Again, like you said, it's very evocative. I'm showing Dwellers of the Forbidden City. You've got the combat, and again, the blood is not, exploding. It's kind of drizzling out of the frog that's, or the
frog,
that's
he's bleeding. Yeah.
But the and again, this is, I know you'd love this one, Dan. This gnome looks like a gnome spellcaster. Just totally destroys in the background.
Yeah.
But it's a stylized violence. It's not realism per se. And again, these are fantasy creatures, so
right. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not hyper realistic at all. But it wasn't my intention. You know, I think it. You know, I don't think this is a cop out. I think it comes from partially from the unconscious. You know, everyone's unconscious, I think, is actually more in charge of what you're doing than anything else. You know, your consciousness is just a tiny part of you, and most of you is something else. And I think that maybe made me do it that way.
And with respect to the cover for the basic, did you know, like, how did you land that? Because that seemed to me like would be a really big deal. I mean, D&D was at really what its height at that time, it's been very popular. That was the one that was going to be rolled out, right, in Walden Books. Everyone was going to go in there and see that. Did you have? How did you land that, if you remember? And did you have a sense that this was going to be a really big deal to do that cover?
So sorry about this, but no, I don't remember why I was doing it. And I guess the funny thing is I don't think a lot of people there yet knew how much that was going to sell, or at least nobody told me this is, you know, this is big, this is huge. I am glad that it turned out so well, though. You know, that painting is pretty successful for what it set out to do. So that all worked out. But no, I didn't realize. D&D, you know, I loved D&D and I knew it was great, but I didn't realize how popular it would become. You know, we were still being, you know, people, you know, and it didn't bother me a bit. I thought they were completely wrong, but people were thinking, you know, this was kind of a loser deviant thing to do a lot of the time. Like, why aren't you doing something not so strange? You know, you don't know what you're talking about. But I didn't realize that it would become, and now it's so great that it's continuing on and reaching broader audiences now. It's quite wonderful.
And I thought James had shown Vault of the Drow. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because there was a monochrome color or cover originally, right? And then you did the artwork on the next version of it. And I've read that some people believe this was sort of when people said, "Wow, you know, Erol Otus is a force." Do you remember doing that artwork? And did you feel like it was something significant you were doing? Because it's become, I mean, that too has become iconic. Your drawings of the Drow.
No, I don't remember any particular moment that I felt like I had done something, you know, outstanding. I do remember when I first got to TSR, I think it was maybe in the first couple of months when I was working on those monochromatic pieces, and I think I had finished one and realized that it came out well and I was going to be able to do this, and being like the happiest I think I've ever been in my entire life. I do remember that. That was earlier and not related to specifically to your question, but it was early on that I was really thrilled, and then after that it was just great.
We have some artists on as well. They're very inspired by what you're telling them. They really appreciate it. They want to know about your work process through the years. Has your full color process changed much throughout the years? How you approach it, and kind of the secondary. Are you using computers now, or are you still doing it all by hand for illustration?
Yeah, good questions and related questions. So for a period of time after I left TSR, I actually worked for a software company that was making paint systems, and I was a demo artist for a while, and then I did some interface design for the paint systems. So for a while there, I was doing a lot of digital artwork, and for D&D artwork, I don't think I ever did a completely digital piece, although several times I would do a pen and ink drawing and scan it in and then color it in the computer. I haven't done that for a while, but I've done that a few times. Now, these days, my color work is all acrylic on illustration board like a TSR. But
Wow.
I do use the computer now to do some studies. I still have to do, a lot of times I'll do a little, acrylic study because the colors are so different on the computer. But I'll maybe roughly plan out the colors on the computer because it's so easy to do and try things. And then try and match some of that with acrylics is tricky. But yeah, then I'll do a study or two and then make the final.
Excellent. And then I knew you were going to ask about the gibbering mouther. Was the gibbering mouther first imagined and drawn by you, Erol?
Did I do the first gibbering mouther?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, and because go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was going to ask, was it quite right? So you were asked to. It was in the module, right? I assume that was one of the you were asked.
Oh yeah.
To draw, right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a creature in the module already. I can't remember. I mean, it was Jeff Leeson and Harold Johnson's module, and I believe they both described the creature to me, and
Hidden Shrine of
they seem to be
Tamakhan.
happy with what?
I was in the Hidden Shrine of Tamakhan. I always say it right. Tamoyokan. That's right.
I don't know if I said it right.
No, I think you did say it right. I butchered it.
You were there, so we'll trust what you say. But when you showed it to them, were they like, "Yes, that's it"? I mean, would that happen at times when you present your? Could you tell if people were excited that you had captured? Because I think that's some responsibility, right? It's their monster. You're trying, right? You don't want to make it too. You want to try to do what they are envisioning, right?
No, not exactly. I want to follow the description they've given, and then see if I can put myself in there and make it work together. You know, I mean, but to answer your other question, yeah, they liked it. I think I got a lot of positive reactions, from the designers when they saw my work. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of it's pretty fun, So they might not have been what they were expecting, but a lot of times they were like, kind of like it.
That's right. So I was surprised to learn that you only had one cover of Dragon Mag. It's a wonderful cover. I mean, it's very well known. But I was just curious: do you know why you weren't asked to do more? I mean, you did so much work for them, but
well, the dragon was like a separate entity, right, from TSR. And actually, the good thing about that is the work that I did for the dragon, I was able to keep the originals.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was a plus. Yeah, but so things while I was there, we were working, all day, which was wonderful. But to do something to the dragon would be an extracurricular, at night type thing. And I was sort of like, after drawing and painting all day, I didn't really want to do it anymore. So it was a kind of a rare thing. But there was another cover I did for the dragon, but they didn't publish it. They published it inside, and I think I might have done this for them freelance after I left. But it was the face of a drow, and it was wearing little human embryos as earrings, and they rejected it because of that. Well, they used it on the interior, but they said they couldn't use it for cover. They were still really skittish about, legal things. What would the demon worship and the blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought having impaled embryos as earrings there'd be an audience that wouldn't find that too exciting? It
wasn't. I mean, it wasn't very graphic. It was kind of a subtle thing. Even that somebody would, I'm telling you what they were, but you wouldn't necessarily think that. I think if you saw the picture, it's so tame, by underground comic standards back in the day. Now it's like it just seems silly. But yeah, so that was that cover. A second one that could have been.
Well, maybe that was your mistake. It sounds like you told them what it was. You should have just.
No. I don't think I told them what it was. I don't think so. I think I figured it out.
I love your contribution to the Days of the Dragon calendar. Right, you did a blue dragon.
Right. That was another one of the freelance things I did after hours there. Yeah.
Okay, that was going to be my question because I didn't know, because I knew it came out in 1982. I didn't know if that was something you'd done while you were there, like the Monster cards. Some stuff comes out in 82 and you're gone, and I didn't know if you were doing it while you were there and it was just later, or you were freelancing.
Yeah. So the Monster cards and that dragon painting for the calendar, those are some of the last things I did while I was there.
So does that mean you got to keep if you do freelance, you get to keep the original or no?
Yeah, work done for the dragon, I get to keep the original. So I have that blue dragon. I have the strange, dragon cover that did come to be. I have those.
Yeah. Okay. So why did you leave? So you weren't there all that long. What made, and I know that you go back to school actually, right? You go back to Berkeley, if I understand correctly. So why did you decide to leave TSR?
Well, I don't think. It's multiple reasons. I think it's nothing about a decision like that. I think. Well, for me, it was like I was tired of them keeping originals. I think that was one thing that was kind of wearing on me, over time, and was one of the factors. Several of my friends had just been fired. Well, several months earlier. But another thing is when you were that age, 19, 20, 21. It seemed like I had been there a long time.
Right.
The years go by much slower than they do now. And I felt like I wanted to do something else. Not exactly sure what. I think that sums it up. Also, I really hate mosquitoes, man. And Wisconsin is really bad for mosquitoes. I don't know if you...
Yeah, well, we're in Florida. So
yeah.
Okay.
The parents of the mosquitoes in Wisconsin, the giant ones are here. They have huge ones there. We have colossal ones. They carry.
Really? Okay.
They carry
those ones in Wisconsin they're not messing around.
Well, they have those black flies up in Michigan and that area too, which are just.
Thankfully, I was never bit by one of those. I've heard of them.
They're terrible. I mean, it's just really amazing, Earl, and I'm sure. You're like you said, you're a young teenager. You're basically a teenager. You're almost
teenage year.
We kind of forget about that. Could you even drink? What was the drinking age in Wisconsin?
Well, it was 21 in Berkeley and it was 19 in Wisconsin at that time.
Oh, and so how old were you when you got the job?
19.
You were 19. Okay. Oh, so that's why you took the job.
Yeah.
So you could drink. It all makes sense. And then when you were 20 and you left, you were 21, right?
That's right.
There it is.
So I can.
Oh, I see. Then I could go back.
That's right. I can get out of this mosquito-laden hellhole and go back.
I'll do
19. The unconscious mind comes to the rescue.
Oh, awesome.
All right. So 1980. So I think we're at 1982. Alma mater, right? So you do the artwork for the role-playing game. Which was suffice it to say, I guess, controversial. How did you get involved in that project, and what do you remember? I mean, I've read things online about stores didn't want to buy it because it was dealing with drug use. I've seen you can find your artwork online. I think it's entertaining, but obviously some people were offended.
I got contacted, I think by phone by the authors, and agreed. We agreed to terms. I took on the assignment and made the illustrations. And I know it seemed pretty tame, but back then, I guess, maybe there was still games industry was still kind of leery, worried about controversy.
Yeah, because I think it got. Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that it didn't really go very far due to the fact, and I don't know if it was your drawing. So I mean, I think it was the subject matter involved.
Well, I mean, it was the realization of the subject matter in the drawings. Yeah.
Right. All right, James. Anything on the chat? I don't want to monopolize.
Well, you mentioned Adrian has said, have you thought about doing a retrospective book? And is that something? Because I think for a lot of folks, myself included, it's not like you have a whole bunch of interviews out there, at least not recently. You have your artwork and you have your Facebook, but it's not like do you want your story told? And would that be a challenge? I'm trying to paraphrase the question. You couldn't have too much of your illustrations because you don't own some of those works or a lot of those works.
Right. I don't. I would like to do an art book someday, and I most probably will. But it's true. Since I'm so well known for TSR stuff, I would really want to put a lot of that in there. But I think there's some limit on what percentage it can be there before it has to be a licensed product and things, from Wizards of the Coast. So I need to look into that pretty carefully. But I also feel like I want to do more before. I don't know if I want to make 2 books, So I think I want to make a few more pieces that are really good. Great.
And people, they're all ready for your Kickstarter for that. If you did that and you kickstarted that book, they're all ready. So just let us know. We'd be all over that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I want to do that. It's just a matter of time. Hopefully not too long.
And then another question. Thank you, Mark. Did you ever get to play test an early Tom Wham games with him back in the day?
Yeah. Tom Wham was amazing. I believe we play tested Awful Green Things.
Okay.
From Outer Space.
Cool.
That was a really good game. And that's the one that I remember. There was something else, but that one I remember because it was so excellent and fun. Have you played Awful Green Things from Outer Space?
A long time ago.
It's really good.
Yeah, it was when I shifted away from, D&D was all encompassing, and then it was like, wait a minute, there's this whole world out here, and you started realizing. You didn't have. There was, itches that could be scratched with more than just Dungeons and Dragons, and in fact.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that you play in an evening,
right?
And it doesn't have the lasting, appeal to me of D&D, but it's really fun.
Yeah, like Paranoia for us was. Was not the same game, but a similar kind of diversion that you could. Be ruthless with all the things you wanted to do to the other player characters you could do, and it was legitimate because the game encouraged that kind of shenanigans, and it was cathartic in that you could get all this nonsense out of it, and then you could go back to the serious game, kind of like what White Plume Mountain was supposed to do, or the Funhouse games. You were to divert yourself from this, the epic campaign and go do a Funhouse thing. Paranoia was for us. I mean, you couldn't run I'm sure there were people who tried to, but if your game, if the adventures lasted more than 2 or 3 sessions, that was surprising because you ran out of clones as you killed everyone. It was an example. So.
And you did artwork for, I think, Top Secret. I mean, you did artwork obviously for other TSR games too, right? You're best known for D&D, but that wasn't the only product.
Right. Whatever products they were publishing, the art department would do artwork for. Yeah, Top Secret, absolutely.
Like Gamma World, I think. Did you do the Gamma
World?
Oh
yeah. Gamma World, we did a lot of the DM or Game Master screen for Gamma World, and some drawings in the module contained there, and then maybe some other things. Yeah, the part of the Gamma World screen is the banner for my Facebook page, just part of it.
Awesome.
And were you responsible for? I think did you do the Gamma World cover where there's a dead Kennedy's necklace?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
That's the Game Master screen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun because nobody, it was just plain as day, and nobody had a clue what it was.
That one got by them. The earrings, I didn't get by them.
Right. Now it just looked like an interesting magic item symbol. The dead Kennedy logo.
I saw you have a DM screen that you use where you have put some of your artwork on it. I saw it from the North Texas convention. So what artwork do you have? I think the Giving Mouther is on there. Do you remember like what you put on there? Is that basically your favorite Erol Otus works on there?
Well, I mean, I picked ones. Yeah, not all of them, but I like all those more than a lot of other ones. And then, they're also all black and white because I I thought it would come out better, just in terms of like not having. I mean, it was just me, and a copier, and printing stuff out, and it worked out best.
So what is
just black and white?
So what is Erol Otus's favorite Erol Otus works?
You asked me what my favorite picture is that I've done?
Or pictures, or just
I mean, I
really
like
memorable.
I like the Shub Niggurath, of course. That one I always think about, and I like my little Cthulhu. Those images in Deities and Demigods are not very large, and it felt challenging, to do a good Cthulhu in a tiny little space like that. But I was really happy with that, how that came out. And a couple of those module covers that you held up are really cool. The battle with the frog creatures. That one. Yes, and that one, I really love that one.
I've got a question.
I was just about to mention that.
Okay. Well, yes, and we love, what is it, the Myconoids?
The Myconoids, that's right.
Okay. Is that what? Can you hold that back up again, James? I have a theory, and I don't know, maybe it's already been established. Is that Lawrence Schick on the right?
I mean, it looks like him. Yeah, I mean, and
I don't know what he looked like in '81 though, or whatever. So.
Well, it looks a little bit like him. I don't. Again, this is like the Alice of the Silver Princess. Again, I don't remember trying to make it look like Lawrence at all.
Yeah.
But there's another one, Tom Moldvay's module with the big giant knocking down a tower.
Castle Amberville. I don't have that here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think I tried to make the giant look like Tom Moldvay. I have a vague memory of that. Yeah, so...
Here's some of the Rogues Gallery. I'm just pulling all the ones I have of your artwork, just kind of blast from the past. And
yeah.
Let's see. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to show. Yeah, the basic and the other one I also had, of course, the expert.
And I think I read online that you don't really remember too much about, because it's so great where the expert set that of course is has the wizard with the image of the basic set, but if I recall, you don't recall if that was something you were told to do. You came up with that,
No, I don't remember. Like that was not my idea.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
That's right.
It was proposed, and I'm like, okay. How do we do that? We took a photo, of the basic cover, and then I glued it to the board and painted around it. That's the the non-Photoshop, the pre-Photoshop way.
And how did you? I know you said you don't really remember a lot about how work came to you. Were there certain projects though that you remember, like people wanted, that you wanted, that you're like, yeah, I want to do this. Like someone would come in and be like, I got an idea. I need someone to draw this monster, and you're like, oh, me, I want to do that.
Well, that was the Cthulhu mythos, deities, demigods. I distinctly remember, like a fire burning. Have to do, must do.
Did you have to basically wrestle anyone to get to do that?
I don't remember how. I mean, I wasn't the only one who wanted to do that. I don't remember how these. Jim Rosloff was art director at that time. Really, really nice guy. Again, like Dave Zetterlund. And I don't remember how that decision was finally made.
Okay. One of the things I also thought was interesting in the Eye of the Beholder movie, you mentioned that for your combat scenes, you wanted to show both the good and the bad. So in so many of your scenes, you've got the good guys are getting the best of the baddies in one section, but in another part, the baddies are getting the better of the good part, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, that's the game. You go into an encounter, a combat encounter, you think you're going to be unscathed? No, probably not. Even if you win, there's going to be some carnage, on your side.
And first edition, anyway.
Oh, well, what happens now? I played some.
No, I don't know.
I played some fifth, and it's much the same. There's a lot different, but I think that aspect is pretty similar.
Is that so? When you run a game, it's like at North Texas. When you run a game, do you run what edition do you play?
First edition, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It's actually a little bit. Some of it's kind of like a cross between original D&D and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I don't do those spell reagent things and some other details.
And do you have a favorite adventure from back in the day? A module or adventure that you went through that you consider a favorite?
As far as modules go, I so much prefer making up my own that I didn't really run. I don't think I've ever, as a DM, ran one. So yeah, I don't really have a favorite module in terms of playing it. No.
So are there a lot of unpublished Erol Otus modules? I mean, we talked a little bit about Island Town. Are there other ones? Because if they're as entertaining as I hear Island Town is, it would be a shame if they're in a box somewhere.
No, not really. Those are the only ones I've fleshed out and prepared enough to actually come anywhere close to being a module.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about your recent work, right? You've done work, I believe, for Goodman Games, and I think you did the cover for Swords and Wizardry, right? So have you found that with the old school Renaissance that you are now more in demand than you were before the old school Renaissance?
It's tough to answer because I was working full time, in the video game industry for, not quite, well, for decades. So I wasn't really trying to get work. So I'm not really sure. I think, you know what? I think it is both, the old school Renaissance, but also just the increased popularity of D&D, in a wider audience. I think those things contribute to the possibility of doing work.
Okay. James, anything on the chat?
Oh, yeah. And so you did video games. So you left, you worked a couple of things, and then you pretty much did video games for the remainder of your career? Or did you dabble between... And what did you find good about working on video games, and what was something that was not to your liking, or because again, working on projects like that, they're obviously much more intense, I would imagine, in some ways. How is that different as an artist for you, going from line work and illustrations and painting to now working in whether it's set pieces or animation or all these other things?
Mm-hmm. Well, so for video games, I was a designer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Game designer. Yeah. Mainly. I mean, when I started, I also did, I did do some artwork at Microprose / Spectrum Holobyte for was it there 7-8 years. So I did do some art direction and artwork and game design. Then when I moved to Toys for Bob Activision, that was as a pure game designer. Although I would do some conceptual artwork, it was mostly game design, and that is very different. And as the industry matured, game designers, it's kind of obvious, but you moved from doing specs and paper design to actually implementing the game using tools made by real engineers. So we would actually, write the AIs, create the gameplay in the world builders, and it was a great experience. I love game design, and it's a real, it's great for the brain to take on those completely new challenges. But you say what don't I like? Well, I didn't like commuting. I can tell you that much. I mean, commuting around the Bay Area, if you have to drive any distance, is very unpleasant. That's not very interesting, but it's true.
Right.
Commuting is horrible.
Well, yeah, I mean.
So I don't miss that.
And nowadays, you know, like I said, if you'd be doing your work from home like everyone else at this point because of this pandemic, everyone would have to do that. And as far, was there a genre of games or design that you were more fond of?
Well, anything that offered, you know, more original work. You know, we did, original content. You know, we did some licensed games based on movies or, you know, previous franchises. But and the last and most successful franchise we worked on was an original one called Skylanders. And so for that one, it was cool because for part of that, I was an enemy designer, so we could make up our own enemies and what they did, and that was really fun. There was one, I think it ended up being called a tube shark or something, but it was, you know, it was kind of shaped like a U-tube. It was a very strange creature. And doing things like that was really fulfilling.
So you played role playing, and you obviously grew up with that. And what's, you know, and obviously Dan and I left gaming for a number of years, for decades, at least RPG, you know, tabletop role playing. And only the last 2 or 3 years we came back, and first edition was the game we played. And part of it was because computer games came, and it was just always every iteration seemed to get better and better to getting from that thing of playing the game without a dungeon master or a game master. You being in the industry, are you surprised how far or how not far we've gotten in game design? And what game really epitomizes the future of gaming where, you know, we see D&D without a games master? Is that ever going to happen in our lifetime?
Jeez, that's a deep.
Sorry about that.
I don't know.
I'm just curious because that's your background.
I think what's cool is, you know, video games, as you say, made it possible to play D&D like experiences without having to have a dungeon master or even other people to play with. But I think, you know, it was an exploration that was really successful and fruitful, and ultimately I think it shows that that is wonderful, but also it cannot actually replace people sitting around together, you know, playing live, and that has value that will never be duplicated. It's different, and I think people had to go and explore this whole other universe than to truly realize that, well, that is excellent, but this is also excellent and cannot be duplicated.
Let's see, I got a couple more in the chat, and it's getting awful dark here, so that's why I had to put the light on. Are you still working on video games, and are you working on any artwork right now?
Yeah, no video games for a couple of years. I'm doing artwork though. I think you mentioned I've done a lot of stuff for Goodman Games. Right now they have a Jack Vance Dying Earth project.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing, yeah, it's really cool. I love him. And so it's really neat to work on a project based on his work, his universe. So I'm doing some paintings for them. I did their, it's kind of more than a monster manual, but it's sort of the equivalent monster manual, you know, rule book for that project, and then some module covers. I'm working on one right now.
Yeah, and Dungeon Crawl Classics is pretty cool stuff. So as a game designer, if you were going to design, now we're on the 5th edition, if there were, you know, I hope there's a 6th edition, I hope there's a 10th edition. You know, my youngest son's 18, and he plays 1st edition with me, but he plays with his friends 5th edition, but there has to be new editions.
Yeah.
What would be D&D 6th edition Erol Otus?
I'll say that
What
again?
would be the
What would
6th
be the
edition if Erol Otus was creating D&D 6th edition as a game designer? What would be the things that you would keep from the old school games, and what would be things that you'd change? You know.
Wow. That requires too much thought.
Okay, that's okay.
For the short-term answer, I don't know, man. That's I'm enjoying 5th edition, but at the same time, 1st edition is all I need. So I'm excited if they make new ones. I'll try them out, and I'm glad that will keep kind of the economic, reality of producing content and getting more and more people to play going. But I haven't really thought about what I would want to change or keep.
So you were one of the players that you started with OD&D with, I see,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So were you so the transition to 1st edition? Were you not bothered? I'm not suggesting you should have been, but it definitely was a lot more rules. I mean, right, Gary, you lost the DM's tournament because of that rule.
That's right.
Where you? I mean, so a lot of people that we know who started with OD&D, they didn't like 1st edition very well because they thought it was rules overload. The whole point of all the rules was so it would be at tournaments. It would be you could do exactly what Gary did at that tournament. But it sounds like it didn't bother you. I mean, you started playing 1st edition and you stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so happy to be doing what I was doing that I had everything, I had no complaints about any of it. I mean, but in the end, and I loved the expansion of the monsters and the spells. I thought that was really cool. But that wasn't really, that could be done without adding a bunch of rules. But I just thought it was great. Yeah. But like you say, in the end, now the game I run is kind of like a combination of OD&D and advanced D&D. So I think I did actually, just sort of throw out some rules without even really thinking about it, just playing the game, and realizing, oh, you know what, this is OD&D, AD&D combined.
Well, as a lot of people did, right, at that time, it was a bit
I think,
of a match.
that's one of the neat things. There's a lot of, every DM, has a little bit of house rules, and that's another thing that's really cool about individuals playing with real people.
Yeah, I think Ed Greenwood told us that he doesn't even play an edition; he just plays.
Yeah, right.
So, okay, I want to ask you this. This is a bit of a digression, but just out of curiosity, because what I read online, so Gary was unhappy with Arduin Grimoire because he viewed it as a competitor, but you'd done work for you had done the covers, the artwork for it. Apparently he was so upset. The DMG has something called the Vacuous Grimoire.
Oh,
right. You open up this book and you have to make a save or you lose intelligence. You must make a saving throw versus magic. Two of them. The first to determine if you lose a point of intelligence. The second, if 2 points of wisdom. That sounds like someone who's unhappy. Did he know you had done work on it?
I have no idea.
So it never came up. He's like, hey, aren't you the kid
I'm kind of surprised that Gary would be upset. I mean, such a small operation relative to D&D. There was really nothing there to be, worried about or concerned. I don't know.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, that's an interesting question because I didn't really realize. I mean, you're right about I remember hearing about the Vacuous Grimoire now and everything. But
you're
no
like,
problems, no issues.
That's right.
Okay.
Moving on. Don't let's pay no attention to that. Exactly. So
yeah, just change the story.
So we want to be respectful of your time. You've given us a lot of time today, so we want to thank you for your time, Erol. It's been it's absolute pleasure. Everyone has been effusive in thanking you for your not only contributions then to the gaming world, to fantasy. I'm sure you've heard this many times, and you kind of answered it. You don't know of when it hit you that your artwork would be identified with this genre. I mean, it's iconic. It's in the most truest sense. So from our fans to yours, thank you so much for your time today to give us your time to discuss it. Go ahead.
And we had a question last night on Facebook. Somebody said, please be sure to ask if there's somewhere that Mr. Otus's work can be purchased. So the work you do and that you own, Do you offer it for sale, like prints of it or anything like that?
It's my intention to do so. I haven't yet, but I'm getting closer to doing that. Hopefully next year. I need to investigate. Well, of course, the originals I've done separate from TSR, no problem. But the ones that I've done for TSR are probably the ones that people want to buy the most. So I I need to try and figure out what the issues are there.
Maybe you could just draw it a little different.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Foreheads.
Look in the other way.
I don't have the patience to redo things.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. You've been there. You've done it. You want to do something new, right? You want to do
something.
Some
people can. Some people would do that. Like I'm in awe of people who make comic books, because they have to draw so many panels that are a lot of times very similar to each other, with the same characters and different poses and expressions. But it's amazing to me that they can do that.
Why should you have to redo the works? You should be creating new stuff. I think as a creative you have to continue to move forward. And I don't think whether it's, and I don't think you should make a derivative of the basic thing. I think you should come up with new works, and there's an audience for that, because it's the style is what we didn't ask this specific question, but I'm sure you've seen the artwork has evolved. And being an artist now, would you? I think I asked this. I forgot who did I ask this of, but would you be successful if you had to start at Wizards of the Coast now with the artwork that you're competing against? How different has the artwork happened? Because you see there's a style now, and it's very elaborate and hyper realistic, like you said. Is it easier to be an artist now, or harder to be an artist?
I don't know. Easier or harder? I don't know. No. Is it ever easy? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's again, there was this. We've talked to Jim and some of the other people. There was that magic time of the late '70s, the do-it-yourself kind of things that happened, because once the later '80s, the game was codified, and some of the things. It may have been a little harder to become iconic because things changed. So I'm just curious.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that, but there is, now that everything or most things that you see, the covers of major products are all digital. To me, there's a kind of sameness to it. It's not bad. It's amazing and super skilled, but it seems like all digital artwork shares a little more in common than all analog artwork, which seems just because the people doing it are using, physical media, it ends up looking, one piece ends up looking more different than another.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in music. I'm not in art, but the digital music makes it's an infinite possibility, but in some ways that lack of constraint, because the media is unlimited, makes you end up with a sameness, because there's too much option paralysis. There's just so many choices.
Interesting. Yeah.
Whereas the medium sometimes forces you. I'm only going to use 8 tracks on this. I'm not going to use all 300 tracks of Pro Tools or whatever we have today, because because I'm going to have this sound that is inaudible, but these kind of things. So I hear what you're saying, and sometimes the medium, because you have that unlimited balance, you get the sameness. One final question. Growing up in the Bay Area, were underground comics like Zap, Underground Press, or San Francisco Comic Book Company an influence on you? Did you have a lot of local influences when you were growing up?
I remember seeing underground comics, and liking, the violence and sex in them, so much more powerful than I don't know, traditional or widely accepted commercial comics. But I didn't actually buy a lot of them. I think, I don't know, when I would see them, it would be I was too young to buy them. And then by the time I was old enough, I guess, to buy them, I was playing D&D and I didn't really care about them anymore. I did like black and white horror comics quite a bit.
Awesome. Well,
those were underground comics, though.
So, Dan, anything else before we let Errol?
Yeah. Well, I just want to mention, too, are you familiar with the Erol Otus Shrine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I think we worked on a couple of things together, or we're on certain projects. Was it Dwimmermount or I don't remember. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh.
It's awesome. Yeah, so it's basically it seeks to collect pictures of all your artwork, and it's quite a resource. So anyone who's a fan of Erol's work, they should definitely check out that website.
Put that in the link.
There's just and there's things that you have seen before. It's pretty amazing.
So if people want to get to you, we know Facebook. Is there any other social media that you use, Erol, at this point?
No.
You're smart. You're a smart man.
Yeah.
Well, it took me a long time to get on Facebook. Like it's only been on, I think 13, 14 months, something like that. So I really avoided it for a while, and I'm glad I have stopped avoiding it because it's been really neat hearing from people and things. But it can be a little bit overwhelming as well. Try and keep track of things.
Oh yeah, we have we have Twitter and YouTube and these type, and they all require, if you're gonna, we have Discord. There's all new platforms and they require work. I mean, people. Again, you were a name that people didn't know. I mean, I grew up, I didn't know you. It wasn't like Gary Gygax, whose face started to appear, and so people start filling in the blanks of who you are, and so now you have this direct relationship. It's always a thing. So we're fortunate that our thoughts of you were dead on. You're just very humble and a wonderful artist, and we thank you for your time today on Grog Talk. So we do have a tradition here. I don't know if you have. I didn't tell you this yesterday, so I do apologize, and it's okay. Do you have a D10 around near you?
Yeah, I have a.
I love it. Like almost all our guests, there's like within reach are polyhedral dice.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we ask a D10. We ask we ask our guests to roll a D10. 10 being a great show. 1 is, well, your guests suck and we made it bad for you. So give us a D10, Errol. We'll kind of rate the show.
So just a D10.
Yes, this is how good the show is on a scale of 1. The dice don't lie.
The dice don't lie.
It's a 6.
Okay.
It's a 6.
Slightly.
I would say it's but I would say it was more of a 7, you know. I don't think the dice really told the full story because
well, I don't know. I think I don't know. Some of my questions on I kind of got confused on the wells and the free, gave you I get it
really
now.
Good.
Huh?
I said, it's been really good. I really enjoyed this. This was fun.
Well, thank you so much.
Well,
we really appreciate it. And, if you do make this book, the art book, or any other projects, just shoot us a note. You've got our email. And if you ever want to come on, I mean, our show, yes, we do interviews, but also it's just Dan and I talking about things. And if you ever want to just Skype on and talk for 10 minutes, you don't have to be on here for an hour and a half. So, anytime you want to talk about what you're working on, feel free to give us a call. We really appreciate your time.
So what you're saying, James, is if we're doing Grog Talk and on the Grog line it says Erol Otus, we answer.
Yes, we will answer for him. If he does. He does call that. So
okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So I'm James.
I'm Dan.
And so we really appreciate Erol for your time today on Grog Talk, and we'll see you next week.